Overnight, Song Wantang suddenly had a son. Report to mommy, I'm your baby. The little boy fell from the sky, begging for a hug. What does it feel like to be a happy mother? She chose to die on the spot. Chapter 1, Shocked and Overnight Mother. Hey, did you guys see that? So many cars outside. They completely surrounded the school. I've never seen such a big scene. Do you think the president is visiting or something? The chatter of gossip stung Song Wantang's ears. She glanced at the girls coming in for dance class and banged the table hard. Quiet. Class is starting. Song Wantang led the group in warm-ups, but halfway through, all the girls kept glancing out the window. Oh my god, he is so handsome. Who is he? A K-pop star? How can a man look this perfect? He has got such an irresistible vibe. Look, he is coming this way. The girls were clearly distracted, as if their souls had been snatched away, all staring dreamily at the tall figure outside. Song Wantang frowned, just about to scold them, when the dance room's doors were suddenly thrown open. A group of men in black bodyguard uniforms stormed in. About 20 to 30 of them quickly surrounded the room, all with stern faces and powerful auras. The girls inside were so terrified they could barely stand. Then came the sound of leather shoes stepping steadily on the floor, each step firm and commanding. The bodyguards parted like a tide, as if welcoming a king. A man slowly emerged from the end of the corridor. Clad in a black suit without a tie, his tall figure exuded overwhelming pressure. His cold, sharp features sent chills down one's spine, and his noble, handsome face was the kind one could only look up to in awe. Still stunned by the overwhelming visual impact, Song Wantang hadn't recovered when all the other students were escorted out by the bodyguards. Then a shadow loomed over her. The man stopped right in front of her, and the air pressure seemed to plummet around them. Totally confused, Song Wantang asked, "Sir, may I ask who you're looking for?" The man looked down at her with deep, cold black eyes that made it hard to tell light from dark. Just one glance and you felt yourself sinking in, unable to wake up. Song Wantang's mind swayed. Those eyes, they seemed oddly familiar, like she'd seen them long ago. A middle-aged man who looked like a butler stepped forward respectfully and handed over a document. Song Wantang took it, but when she saw what it was, her eyes widened in disbelief. In her hand was a DNA test report, with a bold line printed across the top. Test result: Song Wantang and Lee Mu-yuan are confirmed as biological mother and son. She nearly thought she'd misread it. When had she done a DNA test? Wait. Who the heck was Lee Mu-yuan? Biological mother and son. Mother as in her? Miss Song, it's been a while, the butler, Will, said with a gentle smile. Sorry to come to you so abruptly. The young master needs you, and so. Wait, do you know me? Song Wantang pressed a hand to her forehead. What young master? What s with this test result? Lee Mu-yuan is our young master's name, Will explained patiently. Here's what happened. 4 years ago, you relentlessly pursued our young master. One time, when he was drunk, you drugged him and deliberately got pregnant. You tried to use the child to marry into our family. But when that failed, you had no choice but to give the child back. Then, unfortunately, you were in a car accident and lost your memory. It's understandable that you don't remember now. Song Wantang was thunderstruck, as if struck by lightning. What in the world? Sure, she had been in a car accident 4 years ago, but how could something this insane have happened? She didn't even know the man standing in front of her. Chapter 2, Excuse me, sir, what is your name? Sorry, but I think you've got the wrong person. I'm not who you're looking for. Song Wantang tried to hand the document back, but just then, a deep, icy male voice cut through the air. Song Wantang. His voice was dangerously seductive, more intoxicating than any man's voice she'd ever heard. One car crash, and you've forgotten everything? I'm telling you, you really have the wrong. Before she could finish, the man suddenly leaned in. Instinctively, she took a step back, but he swiftly grabbed her wrist. His fingertips were cold as ice, making her shiver. In the next moment, his slender fingers reached up and gently tugged open her collar, exposing a third of her shoulder along with a vivid crabapple blossom tattoo. Miss Song's signature tattoo, how could I be mistaken? His tone held a trace of mocking amusement. You have the exact same design tattooed over your heart. Song Wantang hurriedly adjusted her clothes, her face flushing with embarrassment. She was about to lash out at him, but his words left her stunned. How did he know that? Excuse me, sir, may I ask your name? She asked through gritted teeth. From head to toe, the man radiated nobility and elegance. He didn't answer, simply stared at her with cold black eyes that exuded a naturally untouchable aura. Seeing this, the butler next to him coughed lightly and spoke up, our young master, his surname is Li. Li? Song Wantang froze. Could it be Li Jinyao, the boss of the Li Empire? To the entire Rome nation, Li Jinyao was practically a legend. Years ago, he was a prodigy in the military world, a living myth. But for unknown reasons, he retired from the army, swapped his uniform for a business suit, and quickly built the now mighty Li Empire from scratch. A man like that had always lived in rumors. Little was known about him, and Song Wantang had always imagined someone like him would be well into middle age by now. Who would ve thought he'd turn out to be such a devastatingly handsome man? Now that she knew his identity, Song Wantang felt even more certain there was no way this was real. How could she have ever been involved with someone like Li Jinyao? And had a one-night stand that resulted in a child? Hey! What are you doing? Still reeling from the shock, Song Wantang suddenly felt several bodyguards rush forward and grab her arms. Our apologies, Miss Song. The young master is waiting for you. She was forcibly escorted out of the dance studio, struggling desperately. You've got the wrong person. Let me go. Several luxury cars were parked outside. She was dragged straight toward the frontmost Maybach, with Li Jinyao following right behind her, expressionless, cold, and commanding. Bad news, sir. The young master ran away. A bodyguard came running up, breathless. Li Jinyao's steps halted. His pupils shrank sharply as a chill swept through the air. Miss Song. The butler will gasped in alarm. In that brief moment when everyone had been distracted, Song Wantang had broken free. With a few flawless shoulder throws, she'd taken down several bodyguards. And in the blink of an eye she was gone. She'd moved so fast that no one had time to react. Will was left completely dumbfounded. Young master, she. Li Jinyao's suit buttons glinted with a cold sheen. His sharp black eyes narrowed, filled with icy intent. She won't get far. Song Wantang ran like her life depended on it, darting through the campus in full-blown escape mode, terrified they were still chasing her. She had no idea why, but sometimes she felt her physical strength would just explode out of nowhere like just now. She had somehow flattened a whole squad of bodyguards. Could it be that she had some kind of latent superhuman gene in her body? Chapter 3, I'm a baby no one wants. Song Wantang shook her head, utterly baffled. After running to a safe spot, she gasped for breath. What she had just experienced was so surreal, not even a novel would dare to write something like this. She was only 24 years old, yet she was told she had given birth 4 years ago. Her mind spun in confusion. She was about to hail a taxi home when she suddenly sensed someone following her. Her heart skipped a beat. Could it be Li Jinyao catching up? Song Wantang cautiously glanced back, ready to defend herself, but froze slightly when her eyes met a pair of clear, bright black eyes. In front of her was a boy dressed in a British-style vest. The boy was only 4 or 5 years old but was exceptionally delicate looking. Even though his features hadn't fully developed, it was obvious he would grow up to be a handsome man. Though young, the boy's aura was surprisingly strong enough to make even an adult like her feel his presence. Song Wantang had no resistance to such an adorable little baby, especially one so good-looking. Besides, she felt there was something vaguely familiar about him. Driven by instinct, she ran over, crouched down, and gently asked, "Little baby, why are you following big sister?" The little boy glanced down at the hand held by the woman. His black eyes flickered slightly, and silently, he let her hold his hand without saying a word. "Baby, did you get separated from your mommy and daddy?" Song Wantang squatted, staring at the little bundle of cuteness, feeling he looked cuter the more she looked. It was the first time she had ever seen such a beautiful baby, truly adorable. "Pick me up." Song Wantang was about to ask more questions when she suddenly heard a childish yet deliberately mature voice. "What?" She blinked, thinking she must have imagined it. "Pick me up," the little bundle repeated. Song Wantang froze for a moment, then smiled brightly. "You're really cute, baby. Okay, big sister will hold you." She stretched out her arms and lifted the little boy into her embrace. The little thing was soft and fragrant. Song Wantang resisted the urge to kiss him and asked again, little one, where's your family? She reached out to touch his head, but the little boy grabbed her arm. Don't let go. Keep holding me. What was with that full-on domineering CEO tone? Song Wantang's heart softened. This kid must really have been separated from his family and was seeking comfort in her. Where are your mommy and daddy? She looked around carefully. The little boy said nothing, his eyes darkened unconsciously. After a long moment, he slowly said, I'm a baby no one wants. Song Wantang's heart jolted. How could that be? Baby, do you remember your family's phone number? I can help you contact them. I'm hungry. The little boy buried his face in her arms, his small hands hugging her neck. Hungry? Song Wantang looked around and saw that the only place nearby to eat was a KFC. She took the little boy inside and ordered a kid's meal for him. Sorry, baby, this is the only place nearby. If you want anything else, just tell big sister. Song Wantang smiled warmly as she took care of the little boy. The boy sat properly, clearly well raised, his every movement radiating a unique aura different from ordinary children. He stared at the strange food in front of him, his small mouth pursed. What is this? Song Wantang was momentarily stunned but then laughed. Looks like this kid had really strict parents. He'd never even eaten KFC before? Here, this is a hamburger, and these are fries. Lots of kids like to eat this. Would you like to try? The little boy just raised his eyes to look at her and said, Hey. Chapter 4, the little boy looked aggrieved. Mommy, save me. Song Wantang curled her lips and simply held the little bun on her lap. The little bun seemed a little shy, and his little ears turned red. He leaned obediently in the woman's arms and let her feed him. Baby, can I ask you, what's your name? The little bun had a soft and chubby body, and Song Wantang was so touched by his cuteness that her heart almost melted. The little bun blinked, and then answered, Yuan Yuan. Yuan Yuan? What a cute name. Song Wantang smiled, and she couldn't help but rub his cheek. It's so nice, Yuan Yuan. The little boy was stunned for a second, but did not correct her address. Instead, he became even more shy and buried his little head in her arms. Are you full? Sister will go to pay the bill. Yuan Yuan, just sit here and don't leave tilde. When they were almost done eating, Song Wantang bent down and wiped the little bun's mouth. The little bun's face turned red, and he nodded obediently. Song Wantang smiled and went to the front desk, but when she turned back, she couldn't see the little bun anymore. She hurriedly grabbed a passing waiter and asked, Excuse me, do you know where the child sitting here is? Are you talking about that handsome boy? A lot of people came just now and took him away. The scene was really scary. Is this not a case of stealing the child? Song Wantang ran outside in a hurry and saw from a distance several black cars parked on the side of the road, surrounded by a group of black-clad bodyguards. In the middle of the crowd, a man in a suit and tie was holding a child, standing tall. In desperation, she couldn't help but yell, Put the child down. The man surrounded by the crowd paused, and a chill immediately spread in the air. The next second, Song Wantang heard a wronged voice. Mommy. The little bun lay on the man's back, looking at her with eyes full of surprise. Song Wantang was stunned when she heard his name. She subconsciously looked around, but saw that apart from the bodyguard, she was the only woman there. No way. The little bun was calling her? Mommy, save me. The little boy resisted and kicked the man with his little feet, leaving several footprints on his exquisite suit. Li Muyuan. The man opened his thin lips and uttered a few words coldly. This voice, why does it sound familiar? Song Wantang frowned, and the little boy's voice became more and more aggrieved. Mommy, this bad uncle kidnapped children, you have to save me. The man holding him had a very cold expression on his face. Li Muyuan, shut up. The little bun opened his mouth and bit the man's shoulder. Li Jinya's face was a little gloomy, and he warned word by word, say it again, don't make trouble. The man turned around and his cold eyes fell on the woman. Song Wantang recognized who it was and felt like he was struck by lightning. No way, so unlucky. Big Boss Li. She finally escaped, but fell into the tiger's mouth again. Song Wantang's scalp tingled. Shocked, she looked at the little boy's face carefully again and found that it was almost identical to the man in front of her. No wonder she felt familiar with him. It turned out that this little guy she met on the road was Li Jinyao's missing beloved son. Miss Song, what a coincidence. Will smiled and said, you and the young master are really destined to be together. You are indeed mother and son, and you understand each other. Song Wantang. Ms. Song, please get in the car. We'll open the car door for her. This time he sent a lot of extra people, so Song Wantang had no way to escape. Hey, you are kidnapping. Chapter 5, Mr. Lee, this is really a misunderstanding. Song Wantang was caught and put into the car. In the car, Li Jinyao was holding the little bun, and the cold aura made people dare not get close. The car door was locked, and Song Wantang couldn't get out. He could only laugh dryly. Mr. Lee, this is really a misunderstanding, can you let me out? The car started slowly, but Li Jinyao didn't even raise his eyes. Instead, the little girl on his body finally found an opportunity, quickly climbed down from the man's legs, and threw herself into her arms. Mommy, don't go. Song Wantang was embarrassed. He didn't know whether to hug her or not. Baby, you're wrong. I'm not your mommy. Mommy, I am your baby. Li Muyuan poked his head out from her arms, his eyes full of determination and excitement. Song Wantang held his forehead with his hand. No, this. The man glanced at her coldly with a warning look. Song Wantang felt very aggrieved and had to hold the little guy tightly in his arms. Li Muyuan held Song Wantang tightly, with a satisfied smile on his face. It seems that the young master really likes Miss Song. Will in front smiled slightly. However, Miss Song, the young master is still growing, how can you take him to eat unnutritious food? You are also a mother, you can't be so casual in the future. She is not. Along the way, the little bun kept pestering Song Wantang, while Li Jinyao beside him had his dark eyes slightly closed, as if he was resting. A man like this, just sitting there without saying a word, was as beautiful as a painting. The space in the car was already small, not to mention that the man next to her was tall and had long legs. Song Wantang couldn't escape and could only hold the little guy all the way, enduring the coldness emanating from Li Jinyao. Fortunately, the car soon stopped in front of a riverside villa. Looking carefully, the lights were bright and the villa was magnificent, just like a royal castle in ancient times. Every detail of the Baroque-style building demonstrates the dignity and extraordinariness of its owner, which is simply breathtaking and dazzling. Li Jinyao is indeed the boss who controls the lifeline of the entire Rong state. In front of the retro-carved gate, a group of neatly dressed servants respectfully welcomed the man's return. Will got out of the car first and opened the door for his master. Li Jinyao got out of the car, and his noble aura was so natural that people couldn't help but kneel down in submission. Will, take her to where she lives. Will smiled and said, Ms. Song, come with me, I will take you to your bedroom now. I told you, you're wrong. I want to go back. Hey, let me go. As soon as Song Wantang came down, she was caught by several servants and taken directly to the arranged residence. Li Muyuan wanted to follow but was stopped by the man behind him. Take the young master upstairs. Yes. Will followed Li Jinya's order and was about to pick up the young master, but Li Muyuan ran away. Stop following me. He ran away. Li Jinya's expression darkened, he took a few steps and caught him back. Old man, let me go. I want to go find my mommy. Li Jinyao picked him up and took him upstairs without any hesitation. On the other side, Song Wantang was brought to the huge living room. Although the decoration inside was simple, it exuded extreme elegance. Miss Song, is there anything you need? The maid in charge was about 40 years old and smiled gently. By the way, the young master's room is next door, it will be very convenient for you to get along with each other in the future. I'm not the one you're looking for. Song Wantang, who was kidnapped, felt very aggrieved, but the maid just smiled slightly. That's right, Miss Song, we met 4 years ago. Chapter 6, that woman is definitely not me. At that time, you were only 18 or 19 years old. Now you have grown up and become more beautiful. The maid said with emotion, now that the young master is willing to bring you back, you must not act like a fool like before, otherwise you will only make the young master annoyed. I used to like him. The maid gave Song Wantang a strange look and said, Miss Song used to pester the young master every day. In order to win the young master's attention, she used all means, even at the cost of committing suicide. Song Wantang was terrified. Suicide. Jump off a building, cut your wrists, take medicine. Stop. She couldn't bear to listen any longer. Are you sure that was me? Ms. Song is so outstanding, it's natural that I won't make a mistake. Song Wantang was so frightened. She wanted to ask more questions when she heard the maid order, "Take Miss Song to take a bath and go see the young master later. Don't come over here." Song Wantang struggled hard to break free, leaving several maids behind her. She hurried to the door, but bumped into a hard chest. Li Jinyao looked down at the woman in front of him, his dark eyes unfathomable. Seeing this, the maid wisely left. Li Jinyao slowly stepped forward. Song Wantang was cornered by the man, with nowhere to escape. Has Miss Song really forgotten, or is she playing hard to get? Li Jinya's eagle-like sharp eyes locked onto her. Song Wantang thought of what the maid had just said and took a deep breath. "Mr. Li, am I so boring? I'm just an ordinary person, how could I be the young master's biological mother? Mr. Li, I wouldn't even dare to dream of having a crush on a man like you. Otherwise, you can check again, maybe you really made a mistake." She tried her best to please the big boss, hoping that he would let her go as soon as possible. The man in front of him had taken off his suit and was only wearing a shirt. Under the dim light, he looked mysterious and cold, with picturesque features. Evildo. Putting aside other things, Li Jinyao was truly the most perfect man she had ever seen. How could she desecrate such a perfect man? Seeing that he didn't say anything, Song Wantang got a little angry. "Mr. Li, the matter hasn't been investigated clearly yet, and you just arrested me like this, it's illegal." Li Jinyao is 188 centimeters tall, and Song Wantang looks so petite in front of him that he can't be any smaller. He couldn't help but curl his lower lips coldly when he heard that. Breaking the law. The man laughed faintly, but the smile did not reach his eyes. Song Wantang's scalp tingled when he looked at her. The next second, she heard a male voice that seemed to be laughing but not laughing. "Then 4 years ago, Miss Song drugged me and slept with me. Wasn't that even more illegal?" Song Wantang was almost choked. She tried her best to correct the man's statement. "Mr. Li, I am very sure that the woman you had a romantic encounter with 4 years ago was definitely not me." Li Jinya's eyes were sharp. He said nothing, but just clapped his hands. Then Will, who was waiting outside, walked in. "Bring the stuff here." Song Wantang's intuition told her that it must not be a good thing. Sure enough, what Will presented was a USB flash drive. He directly connected the USB drive to the projection screen on the wall, looked at Song Wantang deeply and left. Song Wantang's eyelids kept twitching, and the next second, a charming female voice came through the projection screen. "Ayao, I love you." Her body froze. She was so familiar with this voice. It was her own. In the picture, the woman's cheeks are flushed and her eyes are blurry. Chapter 7, Miss Song, do you dare to do it but not to take responsibility? "Ayao, you are mine, no one can take you away." From the beginning to the end, the woman was the active one, domineering and crazy. One could imagine how hot the scene was just by listening to the sound. Song Wantang's face flushed red, and she stared at the woman on the screen, her eyes wide open in disbelief. The crabapple flower tattoos on the woman's shoulders and heart were exactly the same as hers. Is this really her? So charming, so charming. Just as she was about to slow down, Li Jinyao beside her said calmly, "This is the surveillance footage from the night you drugged me 4 years ago. Miss Song, you dare not take responsibility for what you did, huh?" He approached step by step, and the strong masculine sense surrounded her. Song Wantang forced herself to calm down. "Maybe the video is synthesized." Li Jinyao curled his lips sarcastically. "Song Wantang, you can go and check it out." The video was still playing, and the sound in it made people blush and their hearts beat fast. Song Wantang held his forehead and said, "I will find out everything." The next second, her chin was pinched heavily by the man. Li Jinyao stared at her with deep eyes, and his voice was cold without a trace of emotion. "Don't even think about running away. Even if you run to the ends of the earth, you will be caught back." Song Wantang felt pain, but still gritted her teeth and asked, "If what you said was that I framed you 4 years ago, then you should hate me. Why do you bring me back now?" The man withdrew his hand and did not speak for a long time. After waiting for an unknown amount of time, Song Wantang finally heard his voice that was indistinguishable from his joy and anger. "Mu Yuan needs you." Li Jinya's tall figure stood by the window, almost blending into the night outside. "Otherwise, do you think I'd want to see you again?" Li Jinyao taunted, "What happened 4 years ago is enough for you to die countless times. So, don't test my patience." Song Wantang felt like she was dreaming and her head was dizzy. "No. She refused to believe that she would suddenly have a son. But that night, Song Wantang was still forced to stay and sleep with young Master Lee. "Mommy, you don't want me, do you?" In the bedroom, the little boy in pajamas had a dim look in his eyes. Song Wantang saw his aggrieved face and thought of what Li Jinyao had just said. Her heart trembled. "Young Master Lee. Baby." Li Muyuan corrected her address and rubbed his soft body against her. "Mommy, stay with me, please. I will be very obedient." Faced with the child's pleading, Song Wantang's heart softened all of a sudden. Moreover, for some unknown reason, she always felt an inexplicable closeness to the little thing in her arms. Song Wantang sighed. Although she was unwilling to be captured, she still reached out and hugged him, and comforted him in a gentle voice. Yuan baby, how can you be so sure that I must be your mother?" The little bun held her in his arms, his body filled with the scent of milk shower gel. "Daddy said. Besides, it's very comfortable when you hold me. You are my mommy." He stared at her without blinking, and his little hand kept pulling her hand. Song Wantang couldn't help laughing. She had received too many shocks that day, and she looked at the little thing in her arms and fell into deep thought. Could it be true, as Li Jinyao said, that she had forgotten what happened 4 years ago? But that was too unbelievable. After finally coaxing the little kid to sleep, Song Wantang secretly opened the door and found that there was no guard outside. She was delighted and ran downstairs quietly. The living room was dark because the lights were off. Song Wantang was groping for an exit when she suddenly saw a distinguished figure not far away. Chapter 8. The man has a really good figure. On the long sofa, the man sat quietly, his handsome and noble profile hidden in the darkness, mysterious and hazy. A strong and oppressive atmosphere permeated the darkness, which made people's hair numb. Song Wantang paused and wanted to die. "Where are you going?" Li Jinyao opened his thin lips slightly, and she laughed dryly a few times. I'm thirsty. Come down and drink some water." Song Wantang forced herself to remain calm, but the man had already stood up and stood in front of her. "It seems that my warning is insignificant. Young master." The woman screamed, and Li Jinyao subconsciously looked back. Taking this opportunity, Song Wantang ran away. However, as soon as she ran to the door, she was surrounded by dozens of bodyguards. "Song Wantang, who gave you the courage?" Li Jinyao raised his eyes calmly, and Song Wantang stood up straight, not afraid at all. "Mr. Li, your son has fallen asleep, there is no need for me to stay." As soon as she finished speaking, she suddenly caught a glimpse of a pair of green eyes in the darkness. Song Wantang widened her eyes and realized that a giant wolf dog had appeared in front of her at some point. When the wolf dog stood up, it was almost taller than a human. R. The wolfhound howled toward the sky a few times, looking ferocious and ferocious. Song Wantang ran in completely subconsciously, but unexpectedly bumped into the man's hard chest. Li Jinyao was caught off guard and was directly thrown down by the woman who rushed over. The two of them fell on the sofa behind them. Suddenly, the bodyguards gasped. Song Wantang rubbed her nose, the tip of her nose was filled with the man's cool breath. When she lowered her head, she could see the man's handsome face. Why is God so unfair? He gave this man facial features that are infuriating to both humans and gods, a noble and extraordinary temperament, and even a supreme status. Song Wantang had never thought that the two of them would have any intersection with a man like Li Jinyao, who was at the top of the pyramid. But now, she was arrested as his son's biological mother. Li Jinyao's handsome face was gloomy, and his eyes were cold. Seeing this, Song Wantang couldn't help but feel guilty. "I didn't mean it. Who told you to release the wolfhound to scare people first? However, the man's figure is really good." Song Wantang was just daydreaming when she heard the man say coldly, "It seems that after 4 years, Miss Song is still as wild as ever." Li Jinyao calmly straightened the shirt that she had wrinkled, then asked her in a cold voice, "Aji, how long have you not eaten meat?" Hull led the wolfhound and smiled slightly. "This guy was sick a few days ago, and I am preparing to feed him meat today." After realizing what they were going to do, Song Wantang couldn't believe it. With Li Jinya's iron-blooded skills, she certainly believed that he could do such a cruel thing. "Why, you're not leaving?" Li Jinyao asked calmly. Facing the wolfhound's bloodthirsty eyes, Song Wantang couldn't help but laugh dryly. I just came down to drink some water." She wisely turned around and said, I'll go see the young master. Today was truly a thrilling day. Returning to the bedroom, Song Wantang couldn't help but sigh softly as he looked at the little bun sleeping soundly on the bed. Forget it, let us go to sleep first and get through tonight. Tomorrow, she will definitely find a way to leave. Chapter 9, Take a paternity test yourself. Not long after the woman fell asleep, the bedroom door opened and a tall man appeared at the door. The moonlight elongated his figure, making the man look even more mysterious and cold. It seems that Miss Song also likes the young master. Will lowered his voice and couldn't help but sigh at the magic of blood relationship. Li Jinyao's eyes were hard to read. He glanced at the two people leaning against each other on the bed, and did not speak for a long time. In the early morning, Song Wantang was woken up by being rubbed. Hee, mommy, good morning. As soon as I opened my eyes, I met the little bun's bright black eyes. Song Wantang looked at the retro chandelier on the ceiling, remembered what happened last night, and couldn't help rubbing his head. Good morning. She replied politely, and the little bun stretched out his arms and looked at her expectantly. Mommy, get dressed. Song Wantang was stunned, and then there was a knock on the door, and Li Jinyao, who was already dressed neatly, walked in. He was wearing a white shirt and grey trousers today. It was a very simple outfit, but he looked so handsome that one couldn't take his eyes off him. Get up. The man picked up the little thing from the bed. Li Muyuan struggled. Let me go, you bad guy. I want to be with mommy. Li Jinyao ignored him, took a few steps and stopped at the door. You'll have 5 minutes, go downstairs. The cold male voice made people feel unhappy early in the morning, especially after what happened last night. Song Wantang gritted her teeth, then caught a glimpse of a brand new women's dress and even some underwear placed on the bedside. She picked it up and found that the size was just right. Song Wantang took her clothes and went into the bathroom. When she changed and went downstairs, she saw a couple, one adult and one child, eating breakfast at the dining table. Mommy, I've been waiting for you. Mu Yuan waved at her. He was wearing a yellow top and denim overalls. He looked handsome and lively, and was particularly eye-catching. Sit here. He pointed to the seat next to him with his little hand. Li Jinyao didn't look up, and was concentrating on helping his son pour milk the whole time. Song Wantang sat down reluctantly, and the little bun immediately jumped off the chair and climbed onto her legs skillfully. This time, Li Jinyao did not stop him. Mommy, hello. Mu Yuan hugged Song Wantang. Mommy, I want to drink milk. Song Wantang awkwardly brought the milk to his mouth. Mu Yuan took a sip and looked at her with innocent eyes. Mommy, you drink too tilde. Under the man's sharp gaze, she could only take a sip. Then, the little thing was very affectionate to her, while Li Jinyao was eating breakfast quietly beside her, looking incredibly noble. Mr. Li, I want to talk to you. Song Wantang finally brought it up while Mu Yuan went to the bathroom. She gritted her teeth and tried to communicate calmly, even using honorifics. I thought about it yesterday. I think I should do a paternity test myself. If young Master Li is really my son, I can agree to your request and won't run away again. Forget it, we'll settle the score later. Let us keep this man stable first. Li Jinyao wiped his hands gracefully. Such a simple action could be performed so pleasingly by him. Song Wantang gritted his teeth and said, but before that, I have no obligation to stay here. Li Jinyao looked at her nonchalantly, his face still too handsome. After hearing what she said, he just hummed lightly. What does him mean? The young master means that he agrees to your paternity test. Will at the side acted as a translator, however, I'm afraid the latter requirement is not possible. Why? You are restricting my freedom. Song Wantang confronted the man coldly. The air was suddenly extremely oppressive, and Will couldn't help but be shocked. Miss Song, how dare she do this in front of the young master? Are you looking for death? Chapter 10, very vivid, you can go and act in a movie. Will was praying for her when suddenly the man's thin lips moved and he said something shocking, 3 days. Will. His eyes widened, as if he had been struck by lightning. Is the young master compromising? 3 days. You mean give her 3 days? Song Wantang didn't expect him to be so easy to talk to. After all, Li Jinyao had released a wolfhound to scare her last night. She was stunned when she saw the man slowly stand up from his seat. Li Jinyao was like a mobile freezer, with a powerful aura like an emperor. When he passed by, Song Wantang couldn't help but shiver. This man is really scary. She would never believe that she would have a child with him. Agreement. Li Jinyao opened his mouth, and Will reacted and quickly responded, I'll do it right away. 5 minutes later. Song Wantang looked at the agreement in front of him and was so shocked that he was speechless. The agreement contained all the words she had just said. Now that it was written in black and white, she couldn't deny it. Miss Song promised it herself, and I believe she can keep her word. Li Jinya's cold voice reached her ears, and she realized that she had been tricked. She knew that this man was not so easy to talk to, and it turned out that he was waiting for her here. If that's okay, please sign here. Will handed over the pen, and in order to leave, Song Wantang had no choice but to sign his name on the agreement. Besides, she was convinced that Li Muyuan was not her son, so naturally she had nothing to worry about. Seeing her sign, Li Jinyao asked Wei Er to put the agreement away. He took one last look at her and slowly left. Send Miss Song out. Are you free now? Song Wantang was slightly stunned, somewhat unable to believe it. When she came to her senses, she left in a hurry, fearing that the man would go back on his word, and she didn't even have time to say goodbye to the little bun. But why was she so uneasy in her heart? On the second floor, the floor-to-ceiling curtains were half drawn. A man stood quietly by the window, watching the woman leave. Will on the side couldn't help but ask, Master, are you really going to let Miss Song go just like that? Li Jinyao narrowed his dark eyes slightly, and only when the woman's back disappeared did he withdraw his gaze indifferently, his tone firm and unquestionable. She will come back on her own initiative. Song Wantang took a taxi back to the Song family, determined to confirm what happened 4 years ago with Song's father. What happened before the car accident? Did she and Li Jinyao really have any involvement? Just as he entered the door, Song Wantang heard a delicate female voice. Ace, don't you think we are doing this wrong? If my sister comes back later. She paused subconsciously. Didn't you say she wasn't here? Be good, don't worry, she won't know. The woman smiled sweetly, no, you are my sister's fiancé. Don't mention that spoiler woman. Your sister is always pretending to be noble and won't let anyone touch her. She really thinks she is so precious. I have no interest in her at all. Sister Anhao is still the most likable. Chapter 11, Does it feel fulfilling to beat your own daughter? Sister, it's not what you think. Brother Ace and I. Song Anhao hurriedly put on her clothes. She bit her lip and ran to Song Wantang, her eyes red. Sister, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. This matter has nothing to do with Brother Ace. Lu Ziyi, who was standing by, immediately protected her behind him and comforted her gently, Don't be afraid, I'm here. Then, he looked coldly at the woman in front of him, Song Wantang, since you court me, I have nothing to say. The person I like is Anhao. Let's cancel the engagement. No, Brother Ace. We can't do this to my sister. Song Anhao leaned in the man's arms, looking pitiful, with tears in her eyes. Anhao, I must be responsible for you. Lu Ziyi promised her firmly, Don't worry, I will definitely marry you. Song Wantang, no matter how much my parents like you, I will not get engaged to you. I think you should give up on this idea as soon as possible. Looking at the couple in front of him, Song Wantang just wanted to laugh. Lu Ziyi was the fiancé arranged for her by Yi's father, but it was only in name. She and him had no feelings for each other at all. Song Wantang was just worrying about how to cancel the engagement, but he just bumped into her. It seems that she should really thank her good sister. Then I'll leave the matter of breaking off the engagement to you, Lu Ziyi. Please don't let me down. Song Wantang curled her red lips slightly. It seemed as if they didn't expect her to say such a thing, and both of them were stunned. Sister. Song Anhao called her blankly, as if she couldn't believe what she heard. Song Wantang couldn't help but raise his hand and pat her face. It's okay, I know you always like to snatch my things, and I, your sister, am generous, so Master Lu will give it to you, no need to thank me. She blinked and said, I wish you a happy marriage and a son soon. Sister, please listen to my explanation. Song Anhao was crying. She caught a glimpse of a figure at the door and quickly grabbed the woman's arm, It's my fault. You can beat me however you want, as long as my sister can forgive me. She was clinging too tightly, so Song Wantang frowned and pushed her away. With just one push, there was a thud, and Song Anhao fell directly to the ground. Did she use too much strength? Or was Song Anhao already so delicate? Well, Lu Zi was horrified, and Song Wufeng, Song's father who had just come in, also looked panicked. And how are you? He hurried over to help her up. Song Anhao's forehead was broken and blood was flowing out, which was shocking. Song Wufeng nervously checked her injuries. Are you okay? Do you want to go to the hospital? Song Anhao shook her head in embarrassment, her face already covered with tears. Dad, I was just careless, don't blame me. Song Wantang. Song Gufeng's face was gloomy. He started to scold before he even asked the reason. You bullied your sister again. If anything happens to Anhao, you. Well, what about me? Song Wantang said nonchalantly, as if she had gotten used to being treated like this. You still dare to talk back? You are really getting more and more outrageous. Song Wufeng was so angry that his lips were trembling. He raised his hand and wanted to slap her, but was stopped by Song Anhao. Dad, I told you it has nothing to do with my sister, don't do anything to her. You're still protecting her. She's such a vicious person that she hurt you like this. I'm going to teach her a lesson today. Song Wufeng was so angry that he grabbed the broom in the corner and hit Song Wantang hard. Song Wantang didn't dodge and was hit hard, but she stood very straight and her posture was still proud. Song Wufeng, beating your own daughter is very fulfilling, isn't it? Chapter 12, Who is that man to you? Song Wufeng was furious and said, Unfilial daughter, you did something wrong, so I can't beat you. You didn't come home last night, and you bullied Anhao as soon as you came back today. How dare you say that? Song Anhao is your precious daughter, but what about me? What am I? Song Wantang curled her lips. Am I just some garbage you picked up? Her eyes darkened. Over the years, you have always protected her regardless of right or wrong. Have you ever thought that I am also your daughter? My last name is Song too. Why don't you ask your good daughter how she got entangled with Lu Zi just now? Who is shameless, me or her? Song Gufeng's face changed drastically. Shut up. As a sister, how can you say that about your sister? Song Wantang smiled sarcastically, and this attitude undoubtedly angered Song Wufeng. He hit her with the stick again, and Song Wantang still didn't dodge. Song Wufeng became ruthless and beat her again and again, almost to death. I asked you to talk back, and see if you are well behaved. Dad, if you want to hit me, just hit me. My sister is innocent. Song Anha struggled to get up from Lu Zi's arms and threw herself in front of Song Wantang. Song Gufeng's face changed drastically. Anhao. He hurried over to support her, fearing that she might have an accident. At this moment, Song Wantang felt extremely exhausted. There was a burning pain on my back, but it was far less than the pain in my heart. She tilted her head back and pulled her lips. Song Wufeng, you slapped me 10 times, this is my repayment to you from now on. You and I sever our father-daughter relationship, and I will not set foot here again. Outside, the sky was grey and it looked like it was going to rain. Song Wantang had nowhere to go. Song Gufeng's force was so strong that her back still ached. I had wanted to get to the bottom of what happened 4 years ago, but I didn't expect it to come to this. Oh, why is she so miserable? Song Wantang took a few deep breaths and then took a taxi to Peking University. Song Wantang is a specially appointed ballet teacher at Peking University. Her ballet level is almost unsurpassed, and she has won numerous awards in international competitions. Dancing ballet for many years has made her body lines particularly soft and graceful. At the same time, her temperament is incomparable to ordinary people. She is a well-known goddess in Kyoto University. Her every move attracted attention, not to mention what happened yesterday, so as soon as she arrived at the dance studio, many people gathered around her to gossip. Teacher Song, what happened yesterday? Who is that man to you? Yeah, who is it? Teacher Song, you are so lucky to know such a handsome guy. Is he your boyfriend? Wow, teacher, the skirt you are wearing is the latest model from a famous clothing brand, and it is sold in limited quantities worldwide. Was it a gift from your handsome boyfriend yesterday? Song Wantang looked down at the white dress she was wearing. It had no extra embellishments and was as simple as it could be. She has never paid much attention to famous brands, so she just smiled faintly when she heard this. Okay, stop gossiping. Do you still want to go to class? Everyone walked away disappointed. Song Wantang couldn't help but twitch her eyes when she thought of Li Jinia's icy face that had remained unchanged for 1,000 years. A man like this is cold and indifferent. No matter how handsome he is, she won't want him even if he's right here at her doorstep. Only these young girls who are ignorant of the ways of the world would rush towards Li Jinyao like crazy. Teacher Song, your lips are very white, are you okay? A careful girl noticed Song Wantang's abnormality and asked worriedly. Song Wantang smiled and patted her shoulder. It's okay, thank you. After the morning class, Song Wantang had just changed out of her ballet costume when she heard a student shout, Teacher Song, someone's looking for you. Chapter 13, Where will she go to give birth to a son? Song Wantang frowned and went out, and saw Song Anhao outside at a glance. Both of them were wearing white dresses, but Song Wantang looked better. Even when she was wearing flat shoes, she was several centimeters taller than Song Anhao, who was wearing high heels. Her tall figure and elegant temperament made it impossible to ignore her presence. Elder sister. Song Anhao sniffed, her eyes still red. Are you okay with your injury? It's all my fault. I let you get beaten by your father. This is none of your business. Song Wantang smiled. Besides, you are the high and mighty Miss Song. How dare I blame you? Song Anhao bit her lip, tears welling up in her eyes. Sister, you are still angry, right? You are angry that I took Lu Ziyi away, but we really love each other. Song Wantang narrowed his eyes. Song Anhao, don't you just like to pick up things I don't want? Song Anhao's face flushed red. Sister, you misunderstood. Misunderstanding. Song Wantang was in a bad mood and couldn't help but swear. Didn't you have an affair with Lu Ziyi? Didn't you become a mistress? Didn't you do anything tilder cheap? Song Anhao's eyes widened, and Song Wantang was very impatient. Go away, don't show up in my sight. Song Wantang. A male voice came from not far away. It was Lu Ziyi. How can you be so unreasonable? I told you, if you have any grievances, come to me. And how is innocent? Song Wantang couldn't help but applaud the two actors in front of her. She raised her lip and said, Mr. Lu, is the marriage cancelled? Are you just yelling nonsense here? Lu Ziyi was embarrassed for a moment, and his face turned slightly red. It's almost done, don't be so proud for too long. A's. Lu Ziyi snorted softly, then kissed Song Anhao on the face. Anhao, you don't have to feel guilty. The person I like is you. Also, what does it have to do with you that she ran away from home? You don't have to be so kind and come all the way to care about her. Song Wantang deserves it. Look, you've been so humble, how can she be kind to you? Song Wantang yawned. Yes, I am the most vicious. Sister, you better be careful, I will retaliate at any time tilde. Okay, Mr. Lu, take your beloved woman and get out, don't pollute the air here. Song Wantang. Lu Ziyi gritted his teeth, and Song Anhao quickly stopped him. A's, don't do this. She looked at the incomparably beautiful woman in front of her and bit her lower lip tightly. Dad has a heart attack and is in the hospital. Sister, Dad still misses you. Please stop being angry, okay? Song Wantang sneered and turned away. Dad? Do I have a dad? When Song Wantang left the school gate, it suddenly started raining heavily outside. She drove to the hospital and went straight to the identification department. Ms. Song, the test results will take some time to come out. I will contact you directly then. Hopefully soon, please. After saying goodbye to the doctor, Song Wantang sat alone on a bench in the hospital, feeling hopeless. The young master is indeed your child. For years ago, you pestered our young master. One time, you took advantage of him being drunk and drugged him, causing him to get pregnant. Song Wantang covered his ears and felt a headache. She took young Master Li's hair and put it together with her own for identification. She had no idea where a son came from out of nowhere. She had never even held hands with a man, so how could she give birth to a son? Chapter 14, You promised to sleep with me today. After sitting for a while, Song Wantang stood up, hesitated for a moment, and went to the ward where Song Guofeng was. She didn't go in, but just stood in the corridor until she heard a few coughs. Song Guofeng came out of the ward wearing a hospital gown, his face pale, and was stunned when he saw her. Song Wantang turned away and opened her mouth, wanting to say something, but Song Guofeng opened his mouth and scolded her. Song Wantang, you are really capable. If you have the guts, never go home. Song Wantang swallowed the caring words and smiled faintly. That's great, I'm happy and comfortable alone. She was not interested in continuing the argument, so she turned around and left, with Song Guofeng still cursing behind her. You stupid girl, where can you go if you leave the Song family? I wonder what kind of life you will have. Where's and how? Why can't I see her? Did you chase her away? Song Wantang was already numb to this. She curled the corners of her mouth in self-mockery but did not stop. The rain outside was getting heavier and heavier. She was walking aimlessly on the street like a wandering soul, her white dress soaked through. If people knew that the eldest daughter of the Song family had fallen to the point of being homeless, it would be a joke. Song Wantang was hit by Song Goofing's stick 10 times in the morning, and now he was drenched by the heavy rain. The wounds were even more painful. He felt dizzy. The heavy rain continued until night, and Song Wantang found a hotel to stay in. She seemed to have a fever, her body was burning, and her eyelids were so heavy that she couldn't open them. In a daze, she seemed to feel a pair of cold hands touching her forehead. Song Wantang felt so hot that she couldn't help but lean towards the person passing by. Later in the evening, Song Wantang finally woke up. She touched her head and it didn't feel so hot anymore, so her fever must have gone down. Thinking of the scenes in his dream, Song Wantang couldn't help but pat his head. What the hell? Is she really out of her mind to have such a dream? It's just shameful. Or maybe she really wants to find a man. Just as she was daydreaming, there were suddenly several knocks on the door, and Song Wantang couldn't help but frown slightly. It's so late, who could it be? She got out of bed tiredly and looked out through the peephole. But there was no one outside. What's going on? At this time, there was another knock on the door. She turned around, picked up the newly bought baseball bat, and went back to the door. Mommy, it's me. I'm not a bad person. A familiar child's voice faintly came into Song Wantang's ears through the door. He was slightly startled. Little dumpling. She quickly opened the door and saw young Master Lee standing at the door. Mu Yuan was wearing a hat and the overalls he wore during the day. When he saw her, the little guy's eyes lit up and he stretched out his arms towards her. Mommy, hold me. The soft tone makes people want to hug him tightly. Yuan, why are you here? Song Wantang couldn't believe her eyes. She quickly squatted down and hugged him. She looked at the corridor again, but there was no sign of Li Jinyao. Mu Yuan hugged her neck, and the faint scent of milk wafted into her nose, and Song Wantang's heart softened. You said you would sleep with me today, why did you leave without saying goodbye? The little thing lay in her arms aggrievedly. Yuan has been looking for you for a long time. Song Wantang felt so distressed that she patted his back gently and carried him into the room. No, She didn't know how to explain, and the little thing was listless. Mommy, you've been gone for 4 years, are you going to leave Yuan again? Song Wantang's heart was stabbed hard. The child was innocent, how should she answer? Mu Yuan held her hand with his small hand, his tone firm and overbearing. Anyway, you are not allowed to leave me. Song Wantang was amused by him. He was indeed Li Jinyao's biological son. Listening to his domineering tone, he was definitely the future little boss. Faced with such a cute little guy, she could only coax impatiently. The children were all noisy, but after that, they soon fell asleep. At this time, Song Wantang couldn't help but realize a problem. How could she contact Li Jinyao? Chapter 15, It Can't Be Her Baby. The little boy was leaning in her arms, sleeping very soundly. His handsome face completely inherited Li Jinyao's perfect genes. As Song Wantang looked at him, she actually felt that he seemed to be somewhat similar to herself. Stop it. Song Wantang, you are still a pure and innocent young girl. Although the little bun is cute, it definitely can't be her baby. While Song Wantang was hypnotizing herself, she was thinking anxiously about how to send young Master Lee home. Hey, this is. She looked closely and found that there was a small mobile phone hanging around the little bun's neck. Song Wantang hesitated for a while, then took out his phone and dialed the only number on it. The phone kept beeping. At this moment, she felt inexplicably nervous. After all, she had just confronted this man in the morning. The phone rang for a long time before it was picked up. The deep male voice carried a hint of sexiness in the dark night. Li Muyuan. Hearing this voice, Song Wantang's palms were sweating. She coughed and pretended to be calm. Hello, is this Mr. Li? The young master came to me. Do you think it's convenient for you to come and pick him up now? The man was silent for a while after hearing her voice, and then he slowly replied, I'm outside. I can't come back. So, what should I do, little Bowsy? I'll pick him up tomorrow. The call was ruthlessly hung up. Song Wantang couldn't believe it. How could there be such a cold father? Your own son ran away, but you are so calm about it. Is this really okay? Thinking of this, she felt even more fondness for the little bun on the bed. Early morning. Song Wantang was half asleep and half awake when she suddenly heard the doorbell. She scratched her messy hair and went to open the door in her slippers. At the door, the man stood with his back to the morning light, his posture upright, with 2 buttons of his shirt undone, looking abstinent yet charming, and with his deep and handsome face, he exuded a masculine aura. Li Jinyao. Song Wantang's sleepiness disappeared instantly. She remembered that she was still in her pajamas, so she rolled over and crawled into the quilt. Mr. Li, are you here to pick up Yuan? He hasn't woken up yet. Song Wantang almost wanted to pound the ground who could tell her why Li Jinyao showed up at this time. Hearing her address to her son, Li Jinyao's eyes sank slightly. Then, he slowly stepped into the room, swept his cold eyes around the room, and immediately saw the little bun sleeping soundly on the bed. He walked over and tried to pick up the little thing. Get up. But the little thing on the bed was struggling in its sleep, kicking its legs around on him. Get out of here, you bad guy. Song Wantang tried hard to hold back her laughter. Li Jinyao turned his gaze towards her, his dark eyes slightly narrowed. Song Wantang. He called her name coldly. Song Wantang hummed. Li Jinyao walked in front of her with a hint of sneer in his eyes. If you dare to use the same methods you used 4 years ago on my son, I will not show mercy again. Song Wantang. May I ask, what did she do? She helped him take care of his son for the whole night, and not only did he not thank her, but he also blamed her for no reason. Hey, you. Just when Song Wantang was about to retort, the man suddenly approached, and Li Jinya's cool breath pressed down on her, making her face feel itchy. Don't say anything you shouldn't say in front of Mu Yuan. Understand? At this moment, the two of them were very close. She was trapped in the corner of the bed, and the man leaned over slightly. From behind, it looked like he was holding her whole body in his arms. Chapter 16. There are few men in the world who can compare to Mr. Li. Song Wantang didn't want to be inferior to the man in momentum, so she straightened her chest stubbornly, but unexpectedly Li Jinyao glanced down and sneered softly. Is he laughing at her? Miss Song has really not changed at all 4 years later. Li Jinya's eyes moved away from her, and Song Wantang immediately became angry. I like my figure. Besides, I have already slept with you. She muttered softly, and the man's eyes darkened when he heard it. Song Wantang raised her head without fear, but her lips seemed to touch something. She widened her eyes in horror and looked at the equally stunned man. The air seemed to freeze in an instant. What did she just do? It seems that I kissed Boss Li. Song Wantang was stunned. She licked her lips subconsciously, but her wrist was grabbed fiercely by the man. Why, have you revealed your true colors? Li Jinyao stared at her closely, his thin lips gleaming with coldness. Song Wantang, are you tired of using these seductive tactics? I don't. She felt very aggrieved, but she did kiss him. Facing the man's anger, Song Wantang felt a little guilty. She turned her face away and murmured, it was just an accidental kiss. What's there to worry about? You're a grown man, don't be so stingy. Before she could finish her words, she saw Li Jinya's dark eyes becoming darker and darker. Damn, is he trying to beat her? Song Wantang jumped up quickly and threw herself directly into the man's hot arms. Her breathing tightened, and before she could steady herself, a lazy child's voice came to her ears. Mommy, are you playing kisses and hugs with Daddy? The little boy woke up, rubbing his sleepy eyes. He stared at the two people hugging each other with his clear eyes, full of curiosity. Then, he crawled over happily and pulled Li Jinyao away from Song Wantang with his little hands. He completely ignored the gloomy man beside him and asserted his sovereignty domineeringly. Mommy is mine, you are not allowed to touch her. Mommy, Daddy is not as soft as Yuan, right? Yuan smells better than Daddy, Mommy can only hug Yuan. The little guy pouted and was unhappy, and needed someone to comfort him. Song Wantang was embarrassed. Yuan. She was about to explain when the door was kicked open and a group of reporters with cameras rushed in. Ms. Song, I heard that you and Mr. Lu are engaged, but what's the situation now? Is this your lover? How long have you been together? Does Mr. Lu know about this? Miss Song is silent. Is she feeling guilty? I heard that the Song family has very strict rules. Does my father know what you have done? The flashlights almost blinded her eyes, and the reporter's words became more and more unpleasant. Song Wantang did not expect anyone to break in, and her face instantly fell. She was about to stand up and fight back, but the little thing in her arms scratched its ears and said, "It's so noisy." Everyone looked in the direction of the sound and felt like their eyes were about to fall out. Who is this little guy? Why is he being held in Song Wantang's arms? Who are you? How dare you yell at my mommy? Mu Yuan stretched out his arms and protected Song Wantang behind him. Although he was young, no one could ignore him. What? Mommy. Everyone was shocked again. At this moment, the air around them became cold and they couldn't help but shiver. Li Jinya's face was grim, with a dangerous aura surging in his eyes. He swept his cold eyes over everyone, and just one glance made everyone tremble. Before anyone could react, a large number of bodyguards rushed forward and easily detained them the next second. The thing is ruined. Yes, master. Hey, who are you? My camera. Chapter 17. After all, the target is Boss Li, it's worth it. The reporter watched helplessly as the camera was destroyed and then the man was arrested. The whole process took less than a minute. It was the first time that Song Wantang witnessed the strength of Li Jinya's men. Mommy, I'm better than them. Seeing that Song Wantang had been staring at the bodyguard, the little bun couldn't help but curl his lips. With me here, no one can hurt you. From childhood to adulthood, no one has ever said this to her. Song Wantang just felt warm in her heart. She squatted down, raised her hand and touched his head, her tone full of doting that she herself didn't even realize. Well, Yuan is the best. Li Jinyao turned around and what came into his sight was such a loving scene. The woman's profile is incredibly beautiful, especially her eyes, which are so gentle that tears can flow out of her eyes. His dark eyes deepened slightly. Just at this moment, Song Wantang raised her head and the two looked at each other. When she saw the man's lips, she couldn't help but think of the unexpected kiss just now. It was icy and cold, just like him. Song Wantang's cheeks felt a little hot, and his eyes wandered around uncomfortably. Thank you for what happened just now. She replied awkwardly. Damn it, the reporter must have been called by that bastard Lu Ziyi, with the purpose of breaking off the engagement. Apart from him, she couldn't think of anyone else. Using such sinister means is simply despicable and shameless. You have a fiancé. The man suddenly spoke, and Song Wantang was stunned. Before she could answer, she heard Li Jinyao ask, "Do you want to cut it off yourself, or do you want me to help you?" Song Wantang was annoyed. This seems to have nothing to do with Mr. Li, right? Li Jinyao narrowed his eyes and said, "You are Mu Yuan's biological mother. You cannot have any contact with any member of the opposite sex from now on." And he said word by word, "Is this the level of that man?" Knowing that he had guessed the instigator, Song Wantang's eyes twitched. Of course, Mr. Li is not as good as him. How many men in the world can compare to you? She flattered him hypocritically, and when Li Jinyao heard this, his eyes instantly darkened. Not sure if it was an illusion, but Song Wantang saw that the corners of the man's lips seemed to be raised in a slight arc. She was seriously frightened. Was she sure? Li Jinyao was laughing. Song Wantang suspected that she had seen it wrong and was about to take another look, but saw that Li Jinyao had returned to his usual expressionless face. Really? He asked calmly, and Mu Yuan at the side rushed to speak. Of course not. I am first, you are second. The little bun acted coquettishly and rubbed against Song Wantang. Mommy, you said Yuan is the best. Song Wantang smiled and nodded, but at this moment, she heard the man's cold warning. I will send someone to pick you up in 3 days. Depend on. It's time to go home. Li Jinyao grabbed the little bun by the collar and walked out. Mu Yuan couldn't break free and could only keep asking Song Wantang for help. Wow, mommy, I don't want to go. If you make any more noise, I'll throw you down the stairs. Song Wantang felt an indescribable feeling in his heart as the two, one big and one small, left like this. This father and son duo are really a headache. No matter what, she doesn't want to be caught by Li Jinyao again. Song Wantang looked at the man's back as he left, and couldn't help but reach out and touch her lips. The temperature there was scorching hot, just like her face, red as the sky. Unexpectedly, her first kiss was gone like this. Song Wantang bit her lip and kept comforting herself. Forget it, it's gone, at least she kissed Boss Li, it's not a loss. Chapter 18. Old man, are you thinking about mommy? Outside the hotel, Mu Yuan followed his father reluctantly, but saw the man walk a few steps and then stop, as if in a trance. He rolled his eyes and asked in a mature tone, "Old man, are you thinking about mommy?" Li Jinyao glanced at him calmly. "Don't talk nonsense, kid." The little bun snorted softly, "I'm not talking nonsense, look at yourself now, tsk. What does it look like?" Li Jinyao was not angry, but asked patiently. A beaming face. Seeing that the man didn't speak, Mu Yuan touched his chin again. "I saw it all, mommy kissed you. Tell me the truth, is mommy's kiss sweet?" Li Jinyao's eyes changed when he heard that, while the little bun was talking to himself. "Mommy's kiss must be very sweet, sweeter than honey. Next time, I want mommy to kiss me too." "Hey, what are you doing?" As soon as Mu Yuan finished speaking, he was picked up again, and Li Jinyao threw him into the car directly. "Old man, you're just jealous." The little bun pouted and began to plan his next meeting with Song Wantang. Li Jinyao's slender fingers touched the place where the woman had just kissed him, and his eyes were already filled with darkness. Hospital. As soon as Song Wantang got out of the elevator, she ran into Lu Ziyi and Song Anhao. I thought the two would go straight to see Song Guofeng, but they turned a corner and hugged each other into an empty ward. Song Wantang narrowed his eyes and followed quietly. Just as he approached the ward, he heard a charming female voice. "What if someone comes in later? Be good, there's no one here who would come in." The sound of conversation inside gradually reached Song Wantang's ears. She glanced at the door that she had not had time to close, and could not help but twitching her eyes. The couple is still the same as always. If they want to have fun, they should at least close the door first, right? It seems they still haven't learned their lesson. Brother A's, did it succeed? Just as Song Wantang was about to leave, he suddenly heard these words. "HMPH, don't mention it. I don't know what tricks your sister used. All those reporters are hiding. But and how, don't worry. A mere woman is no match for me. I will always find a way." It turned out to be Lu Ziyi. Her good sister must also know about this. By doing this, isn't the purpose to make her be reviled and slandered by the whole city? Hearing that the two were already fighting passionately, Song Wantang's eyes became increasingly serious. Just at this moment, a group of doctors and nurses came towards them. She narrowed her eyes, then ran forward in panic. "Sorry, I just noticed something was wrong in that ward, and I don't know what it is." Song Wantang pointed to the empty ward at the end. Everyone rushed over to check. The next second, screams echoed throughout the corridor. "Oh my God, who are you? How dare you do this in an empty ward? This is a hospital. How can we allow you to defile it? What are your names? We must inform you." Inside, Song Anhao and Lu Ziyi, who were in high spirits, didn't expect anyone to come in, and hurriedly pulled their clothes to cover themselves. More and more people came to watch the fun, and some even took out their phones to take pictures of them. Lu Ziyi couldn't help but get angry. "No taking pictures, put down your phone." Song Anhao's face turned pale with fright. She grabbed the man's clothes tightly and looked like she was about to cry. "Look at this decent person, but he has no sense of shame. Making out in the hospital in broad daylight, and he can't even find a hotel. I'm not saying that some people are psychopaths. They just like to seek stimulation of all kinds." Chapter 19, Come on, stop pretending now. Gossip is human nature, let alone such an explosive scene. For a while, people were talking about it and pointing fingers at the parties involved. "Hey, why does this man look like the young master of the Lu family to me? Oh my God, it's really Lu Ziyi. Isn't he engaged to the eldest daughter of the Song family? The person next to him doesn't look like him." Being recognized, Lu Ziyi's face flushed red. "Get out. Get out. No more filming. Do you hear me?" Song Wantang saw Song Anhao crying outside the crowd and couldn't help but curl his lips coldly. Her sister is really awesome. She actually teamed up with other men to cheat her. If that is the case, don't blame her for turning against her. Well. Song Guofeng ran out when he heard the noise, and when he saw the scene in front of him, his body shook violently. "Song Wantang, what's going on? It's wrong for Anhao to be with Lu Ziyi behind your back, but you can't embarrass her like this." Facing his questioning, Song Wantang smiled and said, "Well, you also know how embarrassing it is. Then do you know how your good daughter, you and Lu Ziyi, tricked me yesterday? She was almost the one to be criticized by everyone. And how is different from you, she? Yes, everyone knows that the eldest and second daughters of the Song family are different. Song Wantang said nonchalantly, as for me, I am fickle and unrestrained, while An Hao is a quiet lady with a gentle temperament, so I can let them slander me, right? Song Wufeng was so angry that he couldn't speak for a moment. He stepped forward to stabilize the situation, but his body was shaky. Song Wantang subconsciously helped him up. Dad. Song Wufeng has a heart disease and cannot withstand great stimulation. Song Wantang stays by the bed, looking at the unconscious man on the bed with dim eyes. In her memory, Song Wufeng always favored Song Anhao, but even so, she couldn't abandon him. Ridiculous blood relationship. Song Anhao and Lu Ziyi were still surrounded by the media. Song Wantang took out her cell phone and saw that their story had spread all over the internet. The comments under the news exploded. After all, Song Anhao was the most famous socialite in Beijing, and people would naturally talk about it with relish when something like this happened. Song Wantang, her younger sister, had secretly put so many obstacles in her way over the years, and had her tortured to death every time. Every time, she relied on Song Gufeng's support, so now she is lawless. If we don't teach her a lesson, she might end up committing murder or arson one day. With a bang, the door was kicked open and Lu Ziyi appeared at the door, furious. Song Wantang, I really underestimated you. Song Wantang said expressionlessly, get out. Are you satisfied now? Lu Ziyi gritted his teeth. You are really vicious. For the sake of revenge, you even disregard your own sister's reputation. This is a hospital, no noise allowed. Song Wantang unceremoniously drove the man out. Lu Ziyi wanted to rush forward, but the woman easily grabbed his arm. R. His arm was dislocated and he screamed in pain on the spot. A's. Song Anhao ran up and supported the man. After what had just happened, her eyes were red and swollen from crying. Sister, if this is your way of venting your anger, I don't blame you. After all, we were the ones who wronged you first. Come on, Song Anhao, stop pretending now. Song Wantang rolled her eyes, she couldn't stand her delicate look. Men may feel distressed after seeing this, but sorry, she is a woman and is completely unable to accept Song Anhao like this. Chapter 20, Give me a big red envelope when you get married. Song Wantang moved his wrists and felt his whole body was filled with strength. I believe that with this, the Lu family will have no choice but to acknowledge you. You will soon be able to become the young mistress of the Lu family. Congratulations in advance. You should thank me for helping you to make it public, but we are sisters, so you don't have to be polite. Just give me a big red envelope when you get married. Song Anhao's face turned red and pale. Sister, you. Oh, are you feeling wronged? Taking advantage of his height, Song Wantang lifted her chin directly. Don't cry, sister, isn't this a happy occasion? Besides, I didn't pursue the matter of you following me to the hotel yesterday. What do you mean by following, sister? I didn't. Song Anhao avoided her eyes. Song Wantang, don't bully Anhao. Yes, so what if I follow you? Are you afraid of exposing your true identity? Dating a wild man in a hotel is simply shameless. He sent people to follow Song Wantang, but he didn't expect that he would actually catch them. This woman was simply restless. Lu Ziyi gritted his teeth. The blow just now made him unable to use any strength in his arms. He never knew that Song Wantang was so ferocious. You must have secretly hooked up with a strange man a long time ago. Don't pretend to be noble here. Everyone knows that the eldest daughter of the Song family lives a chaotic life. Another arm was dislocated, and Lu Ziyi screamed again. Song Wantang narrowed his eyes and said, Mr. Lu, you really need to clean your mouth. Get lost, or else your hands will be more than just crippled. And you? She looked at Song Anhao, who was feeling guilty, and said, let's get out together. Song Wantang, just wait for me. Well, we'll see. After finally driving the two people away, Song Wantang returned to Song Gufeng's bedside and stayed there for the entire night. She fell asleep like that, and when she woke up, it was already daybreak. Song Wantang took out his cell phone to check the time, but saw news about himself. After one night, the news media had become one-sided. People stopped condemning Song Anhao and instead turned their anger towards her. I think Miss Song was the first to cheat. It is said that she has had affairs with countless men. +1. How could Anhao do such a thing? Maybe she was originally engaged to Lu Ziyi, but Song Wantang snatched it away. Didn't you notice? Miss Song looks like a foxy woman. A woman like this is the most restless. The comments were all slandering Song Wantang, and the language was disgusting. It was obvious at first glance that it was Lu Zi's doing. Song Wantang sneered and didn't care. She didn't bother to care about Lu Zi's level. However, she ran to the bathroom to wash her face, and when she came out, she found that all the slanderous comments about her on the internet had disappeared. What the hell is this? Song Wantang couldn't believe it and was about to take another look when she received a call from the Lu family. Wantang, what's going on in the news? UNA's. Mrs. Lu Zi likes and how? He and I are not suitable. Besides, I have never acknowledged the engagement. At the beginning, no one knew what happened, but Mrs. Lu chose her as the daughter-in-law of the Lu family at first sight, so she joined forces with Song Wufeng to help her arrange a marriage between her and Lu Zi. She had no idea about this, but now she can finally get rid of it. Song Wantang hung up the phone perfunctorily, but soon after, another call came in. She thought it was Mrs. Lu, so she didn't pick up the phone. However, the other party kept calling, so Song Wantang had no choice but to pick up the phone impatiently. Mommy. A childish voice came from the phone. Song Wantang was stunned and called out tentatively, Yuan Yuan. Chapter 21, Daddy belongs to my mommy, no one can take him away from him. It's me tilde. How did you know my number? The little thing opposite snorted softly, is there anything I don't know? Song Wantang walked outside the ward and lowered her voice, Yuan Yuan baby, is there anything wrong? She always indulged this little kid inexplicably. There was nothing she could do about it, because she couldn't resist cute things. I'm lost. Young Master Li said aggrievedly, Dad is missing too. I'm alone, so scared. Where are you? Song Wantang's heart subconsciously tightened, and she listened to what the little guy said patiently. There's a fountain square across the street, right? Okay, I know where it is. Yuan Yuan, don't be afraid, just wait for me there. The doctor said that Song Wufeng was not seriously injured and was almost awake at this time. Song Wantang gave the nurse a few instructions and hurried to the place the little guy said. It was only as she got off the bus that she realized a problem. Since he had a cell phone and knew the address, why didn't he call Li Jinyao but called himself instead? Mommy. Just at this moment, something soft and sticky hugged her thigh. Song Wantang looked down and saw that who else could it be but young Master Li. Mommy, you're here tilde. The little thing looked up at her, its pretty eyes making her slightly dazed. The next second, something was stuffed into Song Wantang's palm. After the little boy did all this, his ears turned red. Mommy, have some candy. With a white rabbit candy in her palm, Song Wantang felt a little warm in her heart. She couldn't help but smile and said, Thank you, Yuan Yuan. The little thing was very happy. He blushed and wanted to say something, but was interrupted by a surprised female voice. Young Master Li. The person who came was a mature woman with delicate makeup. Her eyes lit up when she saw the little bun. What a coincidence, young master, I wonder if you still remember me. The woman tried to please the little guy in front of her, but Mu Yuan looked unhappy. Do I need to remember you? Song Wantang couldn't help but twitch the corners of his mouth. This mouth is as poisonous as Li Jinyao's. The woman smiled awkwardly. We have met before, at a cocktail party. By the way, where's President Li? Why can't I see him? The woman was searching for the man everywhere. Her appearance undoubtedly ruined the little boy's good mood. He took Song Wantang's hand and walked forward. Mommy, I'll buy you something delicious. What did you call her? Hearing his address, the woman was shocked and couldn't help but look Song Wantang up and down. Mu Yuan smiled, Mommy, I am Mommy's baby. The woman's eyes widened, and then she heard a cold child's voice, Listen carefully, don't set your sights on my dad. My dad belongs to my mom, and no one can take him away from me. Mu Yuan said this domineeringly and pulled Song Wantang away. After walking a few steps, Song Wantang coughed, that woman just now. The old man's suitor. The little bun curled his lips, I'm so annoyed, these women are so annoying. They just like the old man's face and money. Superficial. Puff. Song Wantang couldn't help but laugh. This guy is really a little devil. At the same time, in the luxurious box upstairs, the young master ran away again. I looked around for a while but couldn't find him. Will spoke with great trepidation, not daring to look directly at the distinguished man in front of him. Li Jinyao was wearing a handmade tailor-made suit and was nonchalantly shaking the wine glass in his hand. Under the dim light, his handsome face lost some of its coldness and gained some laziness and charm. Chapter 22, Where Does It Hurt? I'll ask Dad to help you check. Why, you're not worried about your son running away? The man next to him was also in a suit, but he looked casual and unrestrained, with several buttons undone, and he was smiling somewhat wickedly. Boss Li, even though you are both a father and a mother, Xiao Yuan is already 4 years old. He is at an age where he needs his mother's care. When will you find him a mother? Li Jinyao took a sip of red wine, and it was unknown what he was thinking about. His dark eyes suddenly became deep. It has been found. What? Found it? Hua Qing thought he was hallucinating and his expression was full of disbelief. Which girl is so miserable that she has to live with you? Meeting the man's cold gaze, Hua Qing immediately coughed. Hey, I mean, which girl is so lucky to be the mother of your child? Dad. The small figure suddenly rushed in and almost bumped into Will. Fortunately, Li Jinyao was quick to catch him in time. Li Muyuan, why are you running around? The man spoke sternly. The little thing rubbed its nose that was hurt by the collision and dragged him outside. Quick, go save mommy. Li Jinyao's eyes moved when he heard this, but he didn't say anything. He let his son drag him away, leaving Hua Qing with a shocked look on his face. Damn, no way, did you really find the girl? In the bathroom, Song Wantang held her stomach, sweat breaking out on her forehead from the pain. I was just spending time with my little one, but it turned out to be so tragic that my period came at this time. At this moment, there was a knock on the door. She thought it was the cleaning lady who bought sanitary napkins for her, so she dragged her aching body to open the door. Thanks. She was about to say thank you, but after seeing who it was, she was so shocked that she was speechless. Who can tell her why Boss Li appeared at the door of the women's restroom? Song Wantang couldn't help but look up at the sign at the door. It was definitely the women's restroom. The last incident came to her mind and her cheeks instantly became hot. Song Wantang didn't dare to look the man in the eye, fearing that she would associate something with it. Damn, that kiss was just maddening. Mommy, I'm going to ask Dad to save you. Mu Yuan was extremely anxious, and he ran over and grabbed the corner of the woman's clothes. Where does it hurt? I'll let Dad help you. Song Wantang coughed and was thinking about how to organize her words, but out of the corner of her eye she saw Li Jinyao was on the phone. Not long after, a waiter hurried over. Boss Li, I've brought the stuff. Do you need it now? Something? What? The next second, a pair of slender fingers held something in front of her, and a deep male voice sounded, take it and use it. Yinbai came over to know what was inside. Even if Song Wantang was thick-skinned, his ears couldn't help but feel hot. She took it with a blushing face and rushed into the bathroom as fast as she could. When he came out after dealing with the problem, Song Wantang saw the man standing not far away. Li Jinyao was standing with his back to the light, looking mysterious and cold. When he heard the noise, his deep black eyes looked directly at her, and Song Wantang's heart suddenly skipped a beat. Beauty can mislead people. You have to know that this man has kidnapped her. How can she be so useless? Thank you, Mr. Li. Song Wantang felt a little embarrassed, but she couldn't help but be curious. How did he know that she was having her period? Just as I was wondering, I suddenly heard, you look very pale. Chapter 23, You're not lost, are you? Li Jinyao lowered his voice and swept his sharp eyes across her face. Song Wantang didn't know why, but her eyes kept glancing at the man's thin lips. Oh, it's okay. Looking closely, she discovered that Li Jinyao's lips were perfectly shaped and full of sexiness. As Song Wantang watched, she suddenly felt a little dry in the mouth. She licked her lips subconsciously, not noticing that the man's eyes suddenly darkened. Song Wantang, what are you thinking about? Realizing that he was actually being infatuated, Song Wantang couldn't help but slap his head hard. When she looked up again, she met the man's dark eyes. She smiled awkwardly and tried to change the subject. By the way, there are a lot of human traffickers now, Mr. Li. You must keep an eye on Yuan next time and don't let him out of your sight. Good. Song Wantang's eyes widened when she didn't expect him to respond. In that case, I'll leave first. The man's aura was so strong that Song Wantang couldn't wait to run away, but Li Jinyao narrowed his eyes and spoke in a deep tone. Your skirt is dirty. Song Wantang hurriedly lowered her head and, sure enough, found a bloodstain on the white skirt. She was very embarrassed, and at this moment, a men's coat was put on her. The suit was very loose and just covered that spot, but Song Wantang was frightened. Mr. Lee. You are Mu Yuan's mother, I don't want to be embarrassed along with you. Then should I thank Mr. Lee? No need. Boss Lee, are you there? While the two were talking, a man's voice was heard. Song Wantang blinked and was about to say something when suddenly someone hugged her waist. The next second, she was pulled to the corner by the man. Hush! Li Jinyao warned her in a deep voice. Song Wantang was held in his arms and was having trouble breathing. Didn't you say that Boss Lee was coming this way? Are you all blind? Hearing the footsteps approaching, Song Wantang was frightened. After all, the man in front of him was a big shot. If there was a scandal with him. Are you afraid of me? The man's hot breath sprayed on her face, and Song Wantang's breathing tightened instantly. Mr. Lee, there is a difference between men and women. Li Jinyao sneered softly and held her wrist with his big hand. Miss Song, wasn't she fearless before? Are you so shameless now? So that definitely wasn't me. Song Wantang smiled flatteringly. Mr. Lee, the person has left. Can you please let me go? Li Jinyao didn't say anything. He stared at her with his gloomy black eyes for a long time. Finally, he said word by word, Song Wantang, you will remember. Mommy. The awkward atmosphere was broken by the little girl who ran over. Mu Yuan directly held her hand and said, Are you feeling better? Dad and I will take you home. Li Jinyao looked at her for a few seconds before turning and walking away. Song Wantang was wrapped in his coat, and a strong masculine scent filled her nose. She rubbed her nose and felt that this man was really moody. Young Master Lee. Song Wantang lowered his head, and his tone suddenly became solemn. You're not lost, are you? When the little boy heard her question, his black eyes dodged a little, and then his little mouth pursed tightly. I told you, I'm not your mother, it's impossible for me to have a child as old as you. Song Wantang hardened her heart and felt that she had to explain things to him clearly, otherwise if she continued like this, she would really be entangled with Li Jinyao. The little bun said nothing, his head drooping. She turned away reluctantly. Your father treats you very well, and your mother must be a very good person too. Chapter 24, Who Provoked the Little Ancestor. Song Wantang chose her words carefully, fearing to hurt the little guy. The little bun looked up at her with wet eyes. Her heart trembled and she opened her mouth, but before she could say anything, the little guy ran away. Yuan. She felt inexplicably flustered and chased after him without thinking. Outside, Li Jinyao had just told Will to drive the car out when he heard the bodyguard running over to report, Master, the young master ran away again. Li Jinyao frowned slightly, but didn't take it too seriously. After all, that little thing was running around all day long, especially after Song Wantang appeared. He tried every way to stick to her. Song Wantang searched for a long time but couldn't find Xiao Baozi. She ran out and saw the man leaning against the car door smoking. Li Jinyao lowered his head. The smoke blurred his eyebrows and eyes, making him look even more cold and picturesque, and no one dared to disrespect him. She couldn't help but quicken her pace. Mr. Lee, I'll return the clothes to you after I wash them. Also, I can go back by myself. You guys should go find Yuan as soon as possible. What did you say to him? Li Jinyao realized something was wrong and his eyes darkened. Song Wantang felt a little guilty. At this moment, Will leaned over to the man's ear and said something. Li Jinya's pupils shrank, and he subconsciously glanced at the woman in front of him. Will, send Miss Song back. Li Jinya's face was extremely cold. He walked away in a hurry, not knowing what had happened, and his steps were extremely fast. Song Wantang felt a little regretful, and the little bun's wet eyes kept appearing in his mind. Li Jinyao rushed to the box where he was before and saw bodyguards surrounding him outside, while Wu Qing was standing at the door with a helpless look on his face. Jinyao, what happened to the little guy? He was so angry that he kicked me out. Wu Qing touched his nose, completely confused. He shouldn't have offended this little ancestor recently, right? Li Jinyao looked at the tightly closed door and shouted calmly from outside, Li Mu Yuan. There was no movement at the door, so he went forward and knocked on it again. Open the door. Wu Qing sighed secretly. No one knew better than him how difficult this little ancestor was to deal with. Once the little ancestor gets angry, no one can appease him even if they are the king of heaven. I don't know who is unlucky this time and actually offended the little bully. Li Jinya's face was gloomy. Li Muyuan, I don't want to repeat it for the third time, open the door. As soon as he finished speaking, there was a crackling sound of something being smashed. Hua Qing's eyes twitched and he couldn't help but say, your precious son has such a bad temper. Like you. Why don't you get out of here? Well, right away. The bodyguard ran over with the key, and Li Jinyao opened the door with a sullen face. However, when he saw the situation inside, his tall body paused slightly. There was no light in the box, and the light was dim. The first thing Li Jinyao saw was the mess on the ground. Things of all sizes were smashed to pieces, and the ground was covered with debris. His voice was a little hoarse, Mu Yuan. After searching around for a while and not seeing anyone, Li Jinyao hurriedly stepped over the debris and finally found a small figure curled up in the corner. The little kid was squatting on the ground, his little head buried tightly in his arms. One of his shoes had fallen off, and his little foot was cut, with blood flowing down. When the man saw this, Li Jinya's heart couldn't help but tremble violently. Mu Yuan. He leaned down, looked at the little kid at eye level, and tried to reach out to hug him, but the little thing dodged him. Chapter 25, the paternity test results are out. Mu Yuan's eyes were red, and his little face was full of tear marks. He looked sad and lost. Li Jinyao saw it and was speechless for a moment. Mommy doesn't want me anymore. The little thing suddenly jumped into the man's arms. Li Jinyao quickly reached out to hug him. Feeling his son trembling, he couldn't help but hold the little thing tighter. Don't cry. Li Jinyao soothed softly, patting the little thing's back gently with his big hands. The picture of one big and one small is extremely harmonious. The man who made the whole Rome country tremble with fear, now revealed his fatherly side, patiently coaxing the little thing in his arms. If there were outsiders present and saw this scene, they would be shocked. Because even Hua Qing, who was following behind, couldn't help but fall into deep silence. Outsiders only think that Li Jinyao is cold and heartless, but they don't know that he is patient and tender in front of his own son. But, which irresponsible girl would actually sleep with the great boss Li and run away leaving behind a son? At this time, in the car, Song Wantang sneezed and looked absent-mindedly at the sudden heavy rain outside. She didn't ask Will to pick her up, and took a taxi back by herself. But at this time, Song Wantang always felt a little uneasy. Master, can we turn around and go back? After hesitating for a long time, she finally spoke. The road we came from was flooded and we couldn't get through. The rain was getting heavier. Listening to the driver's explanation, Song Wantang looked out the window in silence. Suddenly, his cell phone rang. Excuse me, is this Miss Song? The DNA test results you requested are out. When would it be convenient for you to come and get them? She held the phone tightly and responded quickly, I'll be there now. Master, go to the city hospital. Song Wantang urged the driver anxiously, but at this moment, she suddenly felt dizzy. Damn, she was drugged. Song Wantang looked up and saw the driver's sinister smile, and her eyes narrowed slightly. Hey, what are you doing? The steering wheel was controlled and the driver looked at the woman rushing towards him from behind in horror. Before he could react, the car was quickly stopped and the engine was turned off by the woman. Then he was pressed down on the seat. Who asked you to take the drug? There is hallucinogen in the air. If she discovers it later, she will fall into a coma. The driver didn't expect the woman to be so strong. His face turned pale with pain. No one. Oh? Is it Lu Ziyi? The first person Song Wantang thought of was him. Just at this moment, a lot of people came from not far away, and they seemed to be coming for him. Song Wantang's eyes darkened, he turned over, quickly opened the car door, and jumped out of the car. Don't let her get away. Those people came with great force. At the critical moment, Song Wantang suddenly felt a sharp pain in her stomach. She cursed inwardly, and saw a shabby motorcycle on the side of the road. Without thinking, she got on it. Boom boom boom. The motorcycle sped off directly. The heavy rain soaked Song Wantang through and through. She drove like crazy all the way and finally got rid of that group of people, but her stomach ached badly. How unlucky can I be to encounter such a thing during my period? Is Lu Ziyi desperate? He actually resorted to such a despicable method. Song Wantang really couldn't hold on any longer. The intense exercise almost made her stomach tear apart. She clutched her stomach tightly, almost fainting from the pain. There was heavy rain and blurred vision. At this moment, a maybark on the side of the road suddenly braked. Then, a noble and handsome man got out of the car and walked straight towards the woman. Song Wantang was confused and thought she was hallucinating. Otherwise, why would she feel that the man in front of her looked so much like Li Jinyao? Chapter 26. Boss Li is actually coaxing her? Boss Li. Song Wantang thought she was dreaming. She smiled foolishly, but who knew that the next second, she was embraced in a warm embrace. She couldn't open her eyelids and could only vaguely see the man's cold chin. Hey, are you real? She squinted her eyes and poked the man's face curiously. So soft, Li Jinyao, I didn't expect your skin to be so good, it makes women jealous. The bodyguards around were stunned when they saw this. What's going on? What is this bold woman doing? Pinch the young master's face. Moreover, the young master actually allowed this woman to control him. They felt severely frightened. The person involved seemed not to notice the eyes around him. Instead of shaking off the woman's hand, he picked her up and walked straight to the car. Song Wantang was in great pain, but subconsciously, she still did not forget to take advantage of Boss Li, and her little hand was always on the man's chest. Open your mouth. Faintly, she heard the man sigh softly. Song Wantang smelled the medicine and frowned subconsciously until the man whispered something to coax her. Be good, open your mouth. The word good boy made Song Wantang feel elated. She couldn't help but open her mouth, and something was fed into her mouth. It seemed to be medicine to relieve the pain. How could she have such a beautiful dream? Big Brother Li was actually coaxing her. Song Wantang rubbed against the man's arms like a kitten. No matter what, it was just a dream. She would take as much advantage as she could. The man's big hands circled her, his palms gently placed on her belly, and his warm palms drove away all her pain and anxiety. Tang tang. The deep and gentle male voice, with its soothing power, lingered in her ears. What? Tang tang. Even though it was a dream, Song Wantang was frightened. How could that big ice cube call her name in such a gentle voice? It really seems like a dream, so fake that it couldn't be more fake. Song Wantang woke up in a sweat and it took him a long time to come back to his senses. My God, what kind of outrageous dream was she having? She has been single for too long, so she has hallucinations. She even dares to covet a big shot like Li Jinyao, right? Song Wantang rubbed his head, but it was so real, especially the scene where he coaxed himself to take medicine. No, it's all fake. It must be a dream. How could a cold-blooded animal like Li Jinyao be so gentle? Miss Song is awake. Just at this moment, the maid pushed the door open and interrupted her wandering thoughts. Please wash up and put your clothes on the bedside. Song Wantang's eyes widened. Wait, what is she doing? Oh my God. Who can tell her why she returned to Li Jinyao's residence again? Who brought me back yesterday? She grabbed the maid's hand in disbelief, and the maid looked at her strangely. Master. The scene in the dream reappeared before his eyes. Song Wantang scratched his hair, completely dumbfounded. Li Jinyao brought her back, so. Not a dream. But there is absolutely no reason. She touched her forehead and felt that her brain must be confused. Your body is your own. I hope you won't do such stupid things again. The maid couldn't help but say, the young master is indulging you now because of the young master's face. You have to stop when it's enough. What are you talking about? Song Wantang was extremely surprised. What stupid thing did I do? Chapter 27, it's written in black and white that she does have a baby. Miss Song, this is really boring. If you continue like this, you will only consume the only bit of patience the young master has for you. So don't use tricks like pretending to faint to commit suicide in the future. She thought she fainted, was it just pretending? Song Wantang choked on a mouthful of blood. She hastily defended herself, who is pretending? I don't like Li Jinyao. The maid smiled slightly when she heard this. Song Wantang gritted her teeth and became even more angry. I'm telling you honestly, I really have no interest in your young master. Your young master has a stinky face all day long, acting as if everyone owes him money. Which woman can stand this? Besides, a man like Li Jinyao who is not gentle to women at all, whoever follows him will suffer. Song Wantang was mumbling a lot, talking about all of Li Jinyao's shortcomings. She was talking very enthusiastically when she suddenly heard the maid shout, Master! Song Wantang picked up the cup and took a sip of water, preparing to take a breath before continuing. What young master? I've already said that I really don't like him. The rest of her words got stuck in her throat, because a pair of long legs in trousers suddenly caught her eye. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Time seemed to stand still. Song Wantang looked up blankly, and the man's cold eyes fell directly on her face. The maid wisely left, and Song Wantang swallowed. She didn't say anything bad just now, right? Has that been enough? Li Jinyao opened his thin lips slightly. Song Wantang didn't dare to look at him and could only lick her lips nervously. That's enough. She lowered her head, cowardly. Anything else? The man came over, making Song Wantang even more nervous. No, no more. Don't like me. Li Jinyao narrowed his eyes, his tone inexplicably dangerous. How to answer this? Song Wantang was really overwhelmed. In order not to make the man angry, she could only flatter him hypocritically. No way. Mr. Li is handsome and elegant, and everyone loves him. She spoke a long paragraph in a rapid succession, flattering him naturally. Li Jinyao lowered his head, his voice a little hoarse. So, 4 years later, Miss Song is still so obsessed with me. Boss, who has a crush on you? However, Song Wantang had no words to say. She was thinking about how to explain when suddenly a document was thrown in front of her. Li Jinyao stared at her solemnly. The appraisal results you wanted. When Song Wantang took a look, he found that it was the paternity test report he had done at the municipal hospital. I'm not so bad as to mistake the mother of my own child. The man stared at her closely. Song Wantang, even if you do it 100 times, the result will be the same. When Song Wantang saw the column of appraisal conclusion, his body stiffened instantly. That's right, it shows that she and Li Muyuan are indeed biological mother and son. All the previous hope was shattered, replaced by great shock, panic and helplessness. How could this be? She had never been in a relationship, and had never even held hands with a man, so how did she have such a big son? How did she give birth to him? Muyuan, you can't just say you don't remember him and erase his existence. Li Jinyao lowered his head. Song Wantang, you still refuse to admit it. Song Wantang's legs went weak and she almost fell to the ground. Mr. Li, I think I need to slow down. I had hoped it was just a misunderstanding, but who would have thought that it was all true? The results of the 2 tests, written in black and white, both showed that Song Wantang had given birth to a baby. Chapter 28, You shouldn't be so harsh on children. Her chin was suddenly pinched by someone. The man was very strong. Song Wantang could feel that Li Jinyao was really angry. Muyuan likes you very much. How could you be so cruel to say those words to him? Li Jinyao's eyes were dark and unclear. Did you know that he almost got autism? Song Wantang was completely stunned. Autism? How could such a young child? He desperately longs for maternal love, so after knowing your existence, he was so excited that he couldn't sleep every day. Song Wantang's heart ached when she thought of the little boy's bright and clear eyes every time he saw her. In fact, she regretted saying that. She shouldn't be so mean to a child. The little kid's heart is so fragile, how can he withstand the blow? Li Jinya's eyes flashed with extreme coldness. I warned you a long time ago not to talk nonsense in front of Muyuan. He increased the strength of his hands, and Song Wantang was pinched very painfully. Li Jinya's oppressive breath made it completely difficult for her to breathe. If you can't coax him into doing what he wants, I'll throw you into the sea to feed the fish. Song Wantang had heard about Li Jinya's cold-bloodedness a long time ago. She certainly believed that he was not trying to scare her, but was really going to do what he said. This man is really rude. How could any woman stand him? Song Wantang bit her lip and was thinking of a way to save the situation when suddenly Will's voice came from outside. Master, the young master still refuses to eat breakfast. Li Jinyao finally let go of her chin with his big hand, looked at her deeply, and then hurried out. Song Wantang hesitated for a moment, then trotted a few steps and followed him. The bedroom door was locked. Even if Will had the key, it was useless. There seemed to be something blocking it from inside and he couldn't push it open no matter how hard he pushed. The young master didn't say anything. He has been locking himself in since he came back yesterday. Seeing Song Wantang, Will couldn't help but complain. Song Wantang stared at the closed door and couldn't help but think of what he had said to the little thing yesterday. Who could have thought that she would be slapped in the face today just after she made such a harsh remark yesterday? Lee Muyuan is really his son. She slapped her face, not yet fully digesting this fact. What did you make for breakfast? Li Jinyao asked while who was standing beside him. His voice was neither too loud nor too soft, loud enough for the people inside to hear. Master, we have mango toast, banana milk, potato pancakes. Will deliberately raised his voice, they are all the young master's favorites. After waiting for a while but hearing nothing, Song Wantang felt guilty and couldn't help but shouted, Yuan Yuan, come out and eat first. Finally, there was some movement inside, and she continued to coax him, it's very stuffy in the room, it will make Yuan Yuan feel sick. Song Wantang didn't often coax children, so she couldn't help feeling a little uncomfortable at this moment, not to mention that the other person was her son who suddenly appeared. However, just as she finished her words, the door was opened and the little thing appeared at the door with a pale face. When she met his wet eyes, Song Wantang's body trembled violently. Yuan Yuan. The little thing pursed its lips tightly and said nothing. Then, it pushed her with its short hands, as if it wanted to push her far away. The little boy's eyes were swollen, as if he had been crying. He just kept pushing Song Wantang away and refused to say a word. Song Wantang didn't dodge and was pushed into the corner. Li Jinyao immediately frowned. Li Muyuan. There was a hint of panic in the little boy's eyes, but when he heard the man scolding, he bit his lips tightly, pushed everyone away and ran away. Chapter 29, I don't want you to hug me, go away. The heavy rain had not stopped yet. Song Wantang just watched the little bun rush into the rain, his heart tightening, Yuan Yuan. The little thing ran fast and suddenly fell in the rain. Song Wantang ran over and picked him up from the ground. I don't want you to hug me, go away. Mu Yuan burst into tears. After all, he was only a 4-year-old child. How could he bear Song Wantang's previous cold face? There is no doubt that what she said hurt the little boy's heart. The little boy was throwing a tantrum and punching the woman with his little fists, but he didn't dare to use too much force. It seemed that he could only vent this way. Song Wantang wiped his face, not knowing how to respond. This is her own son. Her own baby. This is so unbelievable, why doesn't God send lightning to strike her to death? However, no matter how hard it was to accept, it was written in black and white and she couldn't play dumb and deny it. She was indeed happy to be a mother. Thinking of this, Song Wantang couldn't help but lower her voice and coax him gently. Yuan Yuan, I'm sorry. I apologize to you. Please don't be angry. The little thing cried harder and harder, his face looked very embarrassed. You know, Song Wantang couldn't bear to see children crying, so she couldn't help but hug him tightly, saying all kinds of sweet words to try to coax the little guy. Mu Yuan has a fever. The little guy had been caught in the rain and hadn't eaten, so his forehead was badly burned. The doctor prescribed some medicine, and he fell into a deep sleep. Song Wantang lay on the edge of the bed, looking at the little thing's sleeping face, feeling mixed emotions. This is really her son. Could it be that the car accident 4 years ago really caused her to lose some of her memory? She used to be with Li Jinyao. The young master is actually very sensible and hasn't caused any trouble for me over the years. But as he gets older, he always asks questions about his mother. Will lowered his voice, feeling distressed. The young master never believed what the young master said. Over time, he would always hide away secretly and sulk. No matter how you coax him, he would not get better. Just a while ago, he already had a tendency to autism. The young master had no choice but to find you. After all, the young master is in urgent need of his mother's company. And sure enough, as soon as he saw you, the young master underwent a huge change. Will has seen the changes in the young master over the past few days. To be honest, he has never seen the young master so happy. Song Wantang felt very uncomfortable after hearing this. After Will left, she thought about it and prepared to go out to find Li Jinyao, but she heard the maid's discussions outside. Is that her? The young master's biological mother? I don't think she's that good looking, she looks like a fox. Sure, keep your voice down, or the young master will hear you. What are you afraid of? I heard that it was that woman who set up the young master. That's why the young master is so shameless. How much do you think the young master cares about her? If it weren't for the young master making trouble, would the young master have been able to find her back? Humph, she really thinks she is the young mistress of the Li family. Look at that vixen. The person who spoke was a young maid, about 20 years old. All the other maids were wearing their uniforms properly, but she had deliberately undone 2 buttons on her collar. "Oh, could it be that I can't be Madam Lee anymore, and it will be your turn?" Song Wantang walked out slowly, squinting his eyes and looking the maid up and down. "TSK, you look good, but do you think you are qualified to be Madam Lee?" Everyone didn't expect her to hear it, and their faces changed slightly. The little maid was the calmest. "What nonsense are you talking about? Humph, do you think the young master will protect you? You are dreaming, the young master hates you so much." Chapter 30, Anyone who dares to disrespect Miss Song should get out of Lee's house. "You also know that I am the young master's biological mother, and you dare to talk to me like this, huh?" Song Wantang raised the corner of his lips slightly. Why not call Li Jinyao over and see who he is protecting? The maid was about to reply when she caught a glimpse of the man behind her. Her eyes widened instantly. "Master." Song Wantang was too guilty to turn around. Feeling the man slowly approaching, she simply pretended to be mute. Li Jinyao's eyes slowly turned to the maids, and then he said coldly, "Go and complete the resignation procedures." "Master, we know we were wrong." Several people were so frightened that their legs went weak. They couldn't believe that they had worked so hard for several years, but lost their jobs in an instant because of a few pieces of gossip. From now on, anyone who dares to disrespect Miss Song will be kicked out of Lee's house. Song Wantang met the man's gloomy gaze, and her eyes dimmed slightly. She didn't expect that Li Jinyao would directly defend her and show a sinister attitude in front of so many people. Ignoring their shouting, the bodyguard took the person away directly. Song Wantang coughed and was about to speak, but was beaten to the punch by Boss Li. "Don't think too much." "I certainly don't overthink it." Hearing the man's cold voice, she couldn't help but roll her eyes. "I understand, Mr. Li did all this just for Yuan's sake." Song Wantang really didn't think about anything else. She wouldn't be so self-indulgent as to think that Li Jinyao was interested in her. If it weren't for the little baby, he probably wouldn't even bother to care. She wanted to run away after she finished speaking, but the man stopped her. "From today on, you must take care of Mu Yuan every step of the way." Song Wantang remained silent. This incident had such a huge impact on her that her mind was still not clear. "I think. Want to default on your debt?" Meeting Li Jinya's deep and boundless black eyes, she couldn't help but licking her lips. This is a little habit of Song Wantang. When she is nervous, she likes to lick her lips. Li Jinyao stared at the woman's rosy lips, his voice becoming a little hoarse. "Song Wantang, you signed the agreement. If you can bear the consequences, feel free to give it a try." She finally understood what it meant to bring disaster upon oneself. Everything was fine at that time, why sign a stupid agreement? It's like digging a hole for yourself and burying yourself. The little kid slept for the entire afternoon. During this time, Song Wantang was trying to sort out his emotions. Being a mother is such a headache. With her luck, she can even buy lottery tickets. What happened 4 years ago? Did he really sleep with Boss Li and win the bid? She tried hard to remember, but found her memory was blank and could not find anything. Just when Song Wantang was feeling upset, the little thing on the bed suddenly opened its eyes. Song Wantang suddenly became a little flustered. What should she do? After they confirmed their relationship, she had no idea how to get along with the little thing. Yuan, does your head still hurt?" Song Wantang laughed awkwardly a few times, but before her hand touched his forehead, the little thing dodged it. Mu Yuan pursed his lips and turned his face away, just to prevent her from touching him. Song Wantang lowered his eyes slightly when he saw this. This little guy was still angry. Perhaps it was really the blood relationship that made her full of patience with the little guy. She coaxed him in a soft voice, Yuan, don't be angry, The word, mommy, was rolling on the tip of my tongue, but I couldn't say it. I promise I won't leave you again, okay? Chapter 31, Li Jinyao looks handsome no matter what he does. The little boy was pale due to fever, and he looked terribly weak. He was so small in Song Wantang's arms. He tried to grab his little hand, but this time, the little guy did not resist. Song Wantang was overjoyed, but after a while, the little thing took out a notebook and pen from the drawer of the bedside table. The little bun didn't say anything, he just pursed his lips and stared at her, but Song Wantang understood what he meant. Yuan wants me to write a letter of guarantee, she tested cautiously. The little thing turned his face away, but agreed. In order to coax the little one first, Song Wantang had no choice but to write a letter of guarantee. Who knew that after she finished writing, the little one grabbed her hand and poked the red mark. Seeing the little thing put away the things like a treasure, she felt very uncomfortable. "You're not leaving, are you?" The little thing suddenly raised its head and looked at her with wet black eyes, as if wanting to confirm again, with pleading and expectation in its eyes. Song Wantang's heart was stabbed hard, and she reached out and hugged him in her arms. "I won't leave, Yuan, don't worry." At the bedroom door, Li Jinyao saw this scene and his eyes dimmed. He lit a cigarette in the corridor. The light of the fire set off the man's handsome face, which actually gave off a sense of loneliness and desolation. This is what will soar when he came over. When Li Jinyao is alone, he always seems to be like this, as if no one can enter his world. "It's cold up there." "Master, everything has been taken care of." Will lowered his head to report, and Li Jinyao narrowed his eyes slightly. "Go to the Song family." "Yes." Song Wantang took a lot of effort to coax the little guy, but the little guy fell asleep again after eating. She stared at the little thing's childish face and couldn't help being a little dazed. Li Muyuan's appearance was like Li Jinyao's. He was very handsome at a young age, but his eyes looked more and more like his own. The ringing of a cell phone broke the silence in the room. Song Wantang picked up the phone. It was the director of the dance department of Beijing University. "Ms. Song, when will you come to school? You won't forget that you have class today, right?" "Oops." Song Wantang patted his head and said, "Sorry, director. I'll be there right away." She was so distracted that she even forgot she had dance class today. Song Wantang closed the door quietly and tiptoed, and not far away, she saw a man smoking with his head down. She has never liked men who smoke, but at this moment, Song Wantang felt that she didn't like them at all. In the final analysis, everything depended on appearance. Li Jinya's face looks handsome no matter what he does. "Mr. Li, I have to go to school first." She gritted her teeth, not knowing why she always became timid in front of a man. Almost at the moment the woman appeared, Li Jinyao put out the cigarette in his hand. Song Wantang then realized that there were at least several cigarette butts in the trash can next to him. It was unknown how long he had been smoking here. "I have a job and a normal life. I promise to take care of Yuan, but that doesn't mean I have to cut off everything from the past." Song Wantang took a tough stance, fearing that he would not agree. At this point, she had no choice but to accept Mu Yuan's existence, otherwise she would be a complete scumbag. After all, she was the one who slept with Boss Li first. Seeing that the man still didn't answer, she couldn't help but get anxious. "I promise, I won't run away this time. If I run away, I'm a puppy." The woman's eyes wandered around like a cunning fox. Li Jinyao lowered his head, his voice hoarse as if from smoking. "If you don't come back before 7, you know the consequences." Chapter 32, Thank you for paying so much attention to me. Beijing University. Song Wantang hurried to the dance studio. The class had already started and more than a dozen students were waiting. "Hey, did you guys watch the news? Teacher Song's fiancée cheated on her sister. I heard about it, it's really ridiculous. What do you think the truth is?" "I think Teacher Song is a good person. He must have been wronged in this matter. Think about it. Teacher Song is the eldest daughter of the Song family. She doesn't stay at home and enjoy her life. She actually comes here to teach. It is said that her younger sister goes to various beauty salons every day. She has no worries about food and clothing. She lives a very comfortable life. The two of them are simply like heaven and earth. There is gossip everywhere in life." Song Wantang had expected this. She walked straight in and knocked on the door. "Teacher Song." When everyone saw her coming, they immediately fell silent. Song Wantang was extremely accomplished in ballet, so everyone naturally respected her, even though she was only a few years older than them. Because it was her menstrual period, Song Wantang simply taught her a few moves and let the student practice on her own. She was watching carefully when she suddenly heard a weird female voice. "Hey, Teacher Song, you're willing to come back?" The person who came was Wenshin, a ballet teacher from the same department. She has always been the best in the dance department, but everything changed since Song Wantang appeared. Women's jealousy has always been terrible, so Wenshin has always disliked Song Wantang. She raised her voice and deliberately shouted in front of the students, "Private matters are private matters. As a teacher, you must have the most basic sense of responsibility. You know, the international ballet competition is coming soon. Thank you for the reminder. Song Wantang smiled. Teacher Wen, keep going. This undoubtedly touched Wenshin's sore spot. You know, every year in the international competition, she was always crushed by Song Wantang, whether it was an individual competition or a team competition. Song Wantang, just wait and see. She gritted her teeth. I will definitely win the championship this time. We'll see. Song Wantang curled her lips. Her nonchalant look undoubtedly made Wenshin even angrier. HMPH, don't be so complacent. Everyone knows about Teacher Song's troubles. So what if she's a good dancer? Her fiancé is still cheating on her. She was talking fluently, but Song Wantang suddenly walked in front of her. What are you doing? Wenshin took a step back, and Song Wantang raised his hand and patted her shoulder. Hey, Teacher Wen, thank you for paying so much attention to me. It's just that Mr. Wen, please don't worry about my personal affairs. Mr. Wen, if you have time to care about gossip, you might as well think about how to win the championship tilde. Song Wantang. Hearing the sarcasm in her words, Wenshin immediately became angry. She was about to fight back when the department head came over. Teacher Song, this international competition depends on you to win the prize. You're too polite, director. I'll do my best. Hey, Teacher Wen is here too. Noticing Wenshin's presence, the dean couldn't help but cough. There is less than a week left until the competition. You should work hard during this period and rehearse more with the students to win the championship. Wenshin immediately expressed her opinion upon hearing this. Director, don't worry, the championship will definitely be ours. After she finished speaking, she gave Song Wantang a provocative look, but Song Wantang didn't care at all. It could be said that she didn't take Wenshin seriously at all. After all, she has won so many awards in international ballet competitions. Chapter 33, Miss Song is too good, I am not worthy of her. Hurry up and watch the news. It was the end of get out of class and the students were taking a break when suddenly someone shouted with a cell phone. Isn't this Lu Zi? Listen to what he said in the interview. The students gathered together gossiping, completely forgetting that Song Wantang was still in the dance studio. What? You don't want to listen to what your dear fiancé has to say? Wenshin hadn't left yet, and she started to act sarcastic again. Teacher Song, to be honest, your sister is really pretty and gentle. No wonder Mr. Lu chose her. Don't be too sad. It's normal for men to cheat. Just let it go and find another one. But considering your reputation as Miss Song, hey. She sighed heavily and didn't say anything else, her tone full of sarcasm. Wait, what is Lu Zi talking about? Everyone stared at the interview video being played, their eyes widened in disbelief. Seeing everyone's reactions, Wenshin curled her lips, took out her mobile phone, and clicked on the news push. As for men, you can't just look for handsome ones. They're just good looking but useless. You're still too naive and got fooled by that young master of the Lu family. As she muttered, she opened the interview video. In the video, Lu Zi's usually elegant and handsome face was pale, with two obvious bruises under his eyes. It was unclear whether he didn't sleep well or was beaten. This matter has nothing to do with Miss Song. I was the one who cheated first and seduced Song Anhao and got entangled with her. I was afraid that if the news came out, it would affect the reputation of the Lu group, so I hired some online trolls to attack Miss Song personally. I did everything. It has nothing to do with Miss Song. I was just too impatient and lost my mind. Long paragraphs were transmitted through the phone, and not only Wenshin was stunned, but even Song Wantang, who had nothing to do with it, couldn't help but be extremely curious. What's going on? Is there something wrong with her ears, or did Lu Zi take the wrong medicine? Are you sure these words came from his mouth? Song Wantang couldn't help but take a look at the video and saw that Lu Zi had specially convened a press conference to clarify the incident. Miss Song is too good. I am not worthy of her. I sincerely apologize to her here. Damn, what is wrong with this world? That pretty boy Lu Zi actually took the initiative to come out and explain. The sun is rising from the west. It's so magical. This interview video of Lu Zi was spread instantly and was everywhere on the internet. It was extremely popular. After this clarification, everyone turned against the man and expressed their sympathy for Song Wantang. In this world, there are indeed many innocent girls. It is so tragic that a man is snatched away by his own sister. How could it be? Wenshin bit her lip tightly, almost suspecting that she had heard it wrongly. Liu Ziyi is a well-known figure in Rome state after all, so why would he apologize to Song Wantang in such a humble manner? It's fake, it must be fake. Teacher Song. Only then did the students notice Song Wantang, who was watching the video in the back, and they were all very embarrassed. Teacher Song, this Liu Ziyi is still a man. I thought he would never show up even if he was beaten to death. Yes, he came forward to explain, so you didn't have to endure so much slander and grievances in vain. The students kept chattering in Song Wantang's ear, but Song Wantang supported his chin and fell into deep thought. She didn't think that Liu Ziyi would do such a thing. So, who could it be? Chapter 34, Don't even think about letting me move there. After Liu Ziyi made this statement, the public's impression of Song Wantang was instantly changed. Liu Ziyi became a scumbag that everyone hated, and the entire Liu family was in dire straits. If there is anyone who can make Liu Ziyi, a rich and dissolute young man, obey him, it must be that big boss. Li Jinyao, is it him? After all, for Mu Yuan, he had taken care of her several times. After school, Song Wantang stood at the school gate, wondering whether to go back to Li's house, but unexpectedly received a call from Song Guofeng. She hesitated for a long time, but finally picked up the phone. Wantang, where are you now? Listening to the enthusiastic tone on the phone, Song Wantang was drinking water and almost choked. What's the matter? Her voice was a little cold. Come back soon, I'll be waiting for you at home. After Song Guofeng finished speaking, he hung up the phone in a hurry. Song Wantang frowned, feeling confused. What's going on today? One weird thing after another? Song Guofeng actually took the initiative to call her. Did the sun really rise from the west? But it just so happens that she also needs to go back and ask clearly about Mu Yuan's matter. The Song family is also a prominent family, but it has gradually declined over the years, so that Song Guofeng has become more and more moody, and the conflicts between the two have increased. Standing at the door of the Song family, Song Wantang was reluctant to go in. Isn't Song Guofeng still in hospital? Why is he back? Moreover, exposing Song Anha's affairs probably made Song Guofeng even more disgusted with her. Could it be that he deliberately tricked her back this time so that he could take the opportunity to beat her up? Put all of these on the car, be careful. Suddenly, she saw the servants carrying luggage out. When she looked closely, she realized that they were all things from her room. What are you doing? Song Wantang walked over with a frown, but the servant smiled awkwardly. Miss, someone told us to move your things out. Someone? Who? She hurried through the gate and saw Will being served attentively by Song Guofeng. Try this. This is some new tea. It tastes good. Song Guofeng was courting the man in front of him respectfully. Will saw Song Wantang coming in and quickly stood up. Miss Song. Wantang, you're finally back. Song Guofeng changed his usual harshness and immediately put on a smile on his face. You kid, you didn't tell me you had a boyfriend, and I even arranged a marriage for you. You should have said something. Was she hallucinating? Was Song Guofeng trying to please her? Come on, school is over, right? Sit down and eat a piece of fruit to quench your thirst. Song Wantang had never heard Song Guofeng speak like this before, and her eyes twitched. Why are you moving my things? Will, who was being questioned, answered truthfully, it was the young master's idea. It would be more convenient for Miss Song to move there. Did I agree? Song Wantang frowned slightly. Seeing this, Song Guofeng quickly advised her, Wantang, it's good to move over. It's very common for couples to live together now. I'm not moving. Song Wantang felt her hair tingling at the thought of moving in with Li Jinyao. She didn't want to see that big block of ice every day. She couldn't stand it for even a minute, let alone all the time. Her ability to withstand stress was far from being that strong. Ms. Song. Go back and tell your young master that I will fulfill my responsibilities, but don't even think about asking me to move there. Chapter 35, The Master is waiting for you for dinner. Why don't you tell me the address? I'll help Wantang move the things there myself. Song Guofeng came forward enthusiastically, and Song Wantang didn't bother to care when he saw this. Okay, you move. Anyway, she no longer lives in the Song family, so let them do whatever they want. We have already checked out of the hotel for you. Will smiled slightly. Miss Song, you're welcome. The young master's house is big enough for you to live in. So, Li Jinyao gave the order directly without notifying her at all. Doesn't this force her to move? Damn it. While Will was out answering the phone, Song Wantang took a few deep breaths, trying to calm herself down, then looked at Song Guofeng, who was instructing the servants to move things. Are you well? Song Guofeng smiled brightly. Yes, it's all thanks to you that I was discharged from the hospital. Wantang, you are so lucky to have such a rich boyfriend. Daddy has to thank you very much this time. Who is your boyfriend? What does his family do? No wonder he doesn't like the boy from the Lu family. Song Wantang had a headache. She interrupted directly. Did I forget something about the car accident 4 years ago? As soon as she finished speaking, Song Guofeng's face changed. Song Wantang's heart skipped a beat. No way, did she really lose her memory? Why are you asking this all of a sudden? Song Guofeng's eyes were a little evasive, and Song Wantang quickly asked, so it's true? 4 years ago, I was madly infatuated with a man. Who told you that? That's not true. Amnesia, that kind of nonsense. Song Guofeng was obviously lying, and his words were stuttering. Song Wantang pressed his temples. Are you sure? I haven't had contact with any man. That car accident. If I say no, then it's no. Song Guofeng raised his voice a lot. You grew up by my side, how could I not know? In that car accident, you were at most unconscious for a few days, how could it be so serious as to cause amnesia? Song Wantang was silent for a while. Did I give birth to a son? What? Son? Are you crazy? Where did the child come from? This is just nonsense. But Song Wantang wanted to ask more questions, but she saw Song Guofeng covering his chest, as if he had another heart attack. Oh, sir, I'll help you go and rest. The servant helped Song Guofeng back to his room. Just as Song Wantang was about to follow, Will came in after answering the phone. Miss Song, the master is waiting for you for dinner. I'm not hungry. If you don't go, the young master will refuse to eat. The little boy's aggrieved face immediately appeared in front of him. Song Wantang thought about his current status and could only accept his fate. Okay, I'll go. The car stopped at a villa by the river, and Song Wantang immediately saw the little bun standing at the door, looking up. Go inside, it's windy outside. The man looked at the little guy who had been standing there for at least 10 minutes, his brows furrowed. The little thing, whose fever had just subsided, lay motionless and stubborn, refusing to leave no matter what was said. Li Jinyao had a cold face and was about to take tough measures. When he heard the sound of the car's brakes, he immediately looked up. Mu Yuan, who was standing next to him, also had his eyes slightly lit up. Two pairs of eyes, one big and one small, stared at Song Wantang, making her feel at a loss as to what to do. Especially Li Jinya's gaze, which seemed to see through her whole body. Being stared at by such a top handsome guy, Song Wantang felt extremely pressured. Chapter 36, The Old Man Has Reached Menopause. Hi, Yuan tilde. Song Wantang, who had been trying hard to accept the fact that she had a new son, tried to smile brightly. The little bun was very happy, but seemed to be thinking that he was still angry, so he stopped with his short legs and resisted the urge to move forward. The young master waited for Miss Song for a long time, but he refused to go in no matter what. Will coughed and added, Master, is waiting for you too. Song Wantang ignored the man's intense gaze, walked over and hugged the little guy. Does your head still hurt? She softened her voice and reached out to touch his forehead, which seemed not so hot anymore. Mu Yuan pursed his lips. I'm hungry. Okay, take Yuan out to eat. Song Wantang picked up the little bun directly, and then a man's cold voice came from behind. It's 7:10 now. There won't be a next time. Seeing Li Jinyao leave first, Song Wantang couldn't help but grit her teeth. She must have been a complete face-obsessed person 4 years ago, and she definitely liked this face of his. If she said she was attracted by Li Jinya's personal charm, she would never believe it. Dining room. Mu Yuan was held on Song Wantang's lap and fed mouthful by mouthful. Will, who was beside him, couldn't help but twitch his eyes when he saw this. In the past, the young master would only feel ashamed of this, but look at him now, he can't wait to stick to Song Wantang all the time. Come down when you're full. The cold male voice broke the warm scene, and Li Jinyao barely touched the food on his plate. Li Muyuan, you have a fever, not a broken hand. It's okay. Children are meant to be pampered, right? Song Wantang smiled. Yuan, what else do you want to eat? Mu Yuan didn't say anything when he heard this. He just picked up the chopsticks with his little hand, picked up a piece of braised pork and put it to her mouth. Song Wantang was stunned, then she smiled. Thank you Yuan Yuan. She felt so warm in her heart. Bang. When she heard the sound of knife and fork being put down, Song Wantang looked up and saw Li Jinyao standing up from his seat. There seemed to be an unfathomable emotion in his dark eyes. Who provokes him again? She secretly complained that Boss Li's face really changes in an instant. Master, you won't eat anymore. Will was surprised. The young master seemed to be enjoying his meal, but Li Jinyao barely moved his chopsticks during the entire meal. He didn't know what was going on. The man strode directly up the stairs, his figure unusually indifferent. Will was also confused. Only Mu Yuan saw through everything. He sat on Song Wantang's lap and pouted. The old man has reached menopause. Puff. Song Wantang was amused. She looked at the man's back as he left, her eyebrows slightly raised. Well, Li Jinyao has always been moody. Menopause, this word seems to be very appropriate. But what happened to him? She probably didn't seem to have offended this big devil, right? On the second night of staying at Li's house, Song Wantang's mood was noticeably different. Last time, she was captured for no apparent reason, but this time, she had a terrible headache and still couldn't digest this fact. Seeing the little bun lying on the bed after taking a bath but refusing to close his eyes, Song Wantang could only coax impatiently, Yuan Yuan, it's late, it's time to go to bed. But no matter how she coaxed him, the little guy just refused to close his eyes. Song Wantang was just thinking of a solution when she suddenly heard the little guy say awkwardly, when other children go to sleep, their mommies will sing them a lullaby. Song Wantang didn't know whether to laugh or cry. It turned out that the child had been waiting for her to sing. Lullaby, let me think. She racked her brains but couldn't come up with a song for a long time. Chapter 37, Song Wantang, you have to take responsibility after giving birth. Got it. Under the expectant gaze of the little bun, Song Wantang cleared his throat and began to sing, I have a beautiful wish, that when I grow up I can sow the sun. La la la, plant the sun, la 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 la, la 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 la. A sweet song came from the bedroom, and Will, who followed Li Jinyao, was stunned when he heard it. Is Miss Song crazy? What is she singing? He subconsciously looked at the man next to him, and saw that Li Jinyao's icy face, which had never changed for thousands of years, actually showed a faint smile. Will couldn't believe it and thought his eyes were blurry, but the man really did smile. He immediately stuttered, Master, do you like the songs sung by Miss Song? Apart from this, he couldn't think of any other reason. Li Jinyao's eyes never left the woman. Hearing this, he just asked casually, do you think it sounds bad? Although the tone was casual, it left no room for doubt. Will coughed and said, it sounds good. Putting aside this messed up song, Song Wantang's singing is still very beautiful. Song Wantang yawned, walked out sleepily, and saw the man outside at a glance. Li Jinyao. How long has he been standing here? Did he hear me singing just now? Song Wantang was stunned. Before she could say anything, she heard a deep male voice, you sang well. Thanks. Is he mocking her? Li Jinyao narrowed his eyes slightly, then took something from Will's hand and handed it directly to her. Song Wantang looked down and found dozens of pages full of young Master Li's living habits and hobbies. Memorize all of this. I'll check it in 3 days. Song Wantang couldn't believe it. It was so thick. Was he serious? As a mother, it is essential to know what is happening to my son. Li Jinyao took a step forward, and his sexy voice lingered in her ears. Song Wantang, you have to take responsibility if you give birth to a child. I didn't say I'm not responsible. Song Wantang was extremely frustrated, it's just that you're making things difficult for me, aren't you? It's so thick, how can I carry it all in 3 days? Seeing this, Will quickly spoke up, Miss Song, these are all handwritten by the young master in an hour. The handwriting on the document is strong and clear, and it is obvious that a lot of thought was put into its creation. Is this Li Jinyao's handwriting? It's really not easy for a grown man like you to remember so many details. For the past 4 years, he has been both a father and a mother. You may not be able to imagine the hardships he has gone through. Will's tone seemed to be somewhat complaining. If Miss Song hadn't slept with the young master back then, the young master wouldn't have to work so hard. Song Wantang was hurt. It seemed that her image as a scumbag was definitely intact in the eyes of these people. In order to avoid being scolded, she could only grit her teeth and say, "Okay, I'll try my best." After taking a shower, Song Wantang leaned on the bed and looked through the documents. She read them line by line and found that Li Jinyao really remembered them very carefully. What the little one likes to eat, what he hates to eat, what he is allergic to, all of it was written down word for word. Even many married mothers may not be able to write so carefully. If she hadn't seen it with her own eyes, she would never have imagined that the man who was so powerful and influential could have such a considerate side. Li Jinyao seems to love Mu Yuan very much. He is a good father. Chapter 38. Learn the essence of the domineering president. Act cool. Song Wantang supported his chin, feeling more and more confused. If he hated me, why was he so kind to this child? And why did he take care of him for 4 years? People like Li Jinyao have no shortage of children. He can just wave his hand and there will be plenty of women willing to have children for him. Song Wantang pressed his brows, full of curiosity about everything that happened 4 years ago. She finally couldn't bear it anymore, so she took the washed suit jacket and ran to find Li Jinyao. Upon learning that Li Jinyao was in the study, Song Wantang nervously paced around the door several times, preparing to rehearse in advance. "Well, may I ask, Mr. Li? Did you do what happened to Lu Ziyi?" Song Wantang cleared his throat, then frowned and imitated Li Jinyao's tone. "Ms. Song, don't think too much. Without Mu Yuan, you are nothing." She acted very well and couldn't help laughing after she finished speaking. Song Wantang found that he seemed to have learned the essence of a domineering president. That is acting cool. Be as cool as you can, and say as little as possible. Isn't Li Jinyao the best example? Song Wantang, let me tell you. She was acting more and more enthusiastically, and was enjoying herself when suddenly there was a bang and the door opened. An extremely handsome man appeared at the door. He couldn't help but pause as he watched the woman in front of him, directing and acting herself and dancing with joy. At this moment, Song Wantang was laughing loudly. She covered her chest with her hands. She was so happy that she couldn't stop laughing. But when she raised her head, she met the man's deep gaze. The woman's mouth was still open in a grin, her eyes were wide open, and she seemed to be extremely frightened. Li. Song Wantang coughed violently. Oh my god, how come this man showed up without saying a word? Li Jinyao stared at her, his eyes narrowed slightly. "Miss Song, what were you doing just now?" "No, I didn't do anything." Song Wantang waved his hands awkwardly. I came to see you." "Yes, to see you." Li Jinya's eyes swept across her face. Song Wantang felt extremely guilty. How come he always happened to see such embarrassing things? It seems that she and Boss Li are not compatible. Song Wantang was just poking her hands and mumbling something when she heard a cold voice. "Why don't you catch up?" She breathed a sigh of relief, ran up quickly, and followed the man into the study. As soon as Song Wantang entered, he smelled a strong smell of smoke. She coughed a few times because of the smoke. Li Jinyao walked over and opened the window, and the smell of smoke slowly dissipated. Song Wantang thought about it and said, "Mr. Li, Mu Yuan is still growing up. You are with him day and night. It is best not to smoke often, otherwise the child will be easily infected." Li Jinya's eyes darkened when he heard this, and his voice became a little hoarse. "Yeah." His slender fingers tapped the table lightly, his eyes fixed on her. Miss Song's identity changes very quickly. The man's aura was too strong. Song Wantang muttered a few words under her breath, then handed over the suit jacket in her hand with a fake smile. "Hey, Mr. Li, this is the clothes you lent me last time. I have washed them." Seeing that Li Jinyao just stared at her without saying anything, Song Wantang was so panicked. What's going on? Does he think it's dirty? I really washed it clean. I washed my hands several times. They are not dirty. She hurriedly explained, and Li Jinyao opened his thin lips and said, "I never wash my clothes by hand." Well, the life of the rich. Song Wantang looked at the suit and felt like crying but had no tears. She was thinking about how to remedy the situation when her suit was suddenly taken away. Chapter 39. We don't understand the world of big guys. Seeing Li Jinyao accept the clothes, Song Wantang couldn't help but be a little surprised. What is going on? Maybe this suit is very expensive? Or maybe it has a special meaning to him. We don't understand the world of the big guys. Song Wantang knew nothing and didn't dare to ask anything. Anything else. Li Jinyao's voice was neither cold nor indifferent. Song Wantang coughed and remembered the real purpose of coming here. Mr. Li, I just want to ask, was it you who did what happened to Lu Ziyi? She thought he would answer according to the routine she had imagined, but Boss Li just asked calmly, Lu Ziyi, who is it? Not playing by the rules at all. That's my fiancé. After hearing this, the big boss seemed to remember something. He looked at Song Wantang and curled his lips in a mocking manner. You have a very poor vision. Thank you, Mr. Li. Song Wantang was too lazy to explain and thanked him with a smile, but I can handle my own problems, so I won't bother Mr. Li next time. There is no need to think about it. He must have felt that she was embarrassing Yuan, so he took the initiative to help her. Li Jinya's sharp eyes came towards him, and the sarcastic arc at the corner of his lips became even bigger. It's better this way. Boss, can we stop pretending to be cool? Song Wantang complained secretly, but still had a smile on her face. Well, Mr. Li, I want to ask, were you the one who saved me the night Lu Zi plotted against me? The shameful dream came to her mind again and her cheeks began to turn red. This question has been weighing on Song Wantang's mind for a long time. She felt that if she didn't ask it, she would be suffocated to death. Li Jinyao narrowed his eyes slightly, just happened to be passing by. So what happened next? Song Wantang stared at him without blinking. Li Jinyao approached her, step by step, forcing her into nowhere to escape. The man raised his lower lip slightly and said in a low voice, What does Miss Song hope to happen? Song Wantang turned away, her ears red. No, I was just asking casually. She would never tell him that she dreamed of him coaxing her even if she was beaten to death. Song Wantang, that was a dream, are you stupid? How could it be real? Even if the sun rises from the west, Li Jinyao can't coax you so gently. The man's aura was so strong that Song Wantang smiled foolishly a few times and then licked her lips. Any questions? Li Jinyao glanced down at his watch. You only have 5 minutes left. Song Wantang swallowed and got to the most important question. Can I ask, how did I succeed in the first place? After Song Wantang asked this question, Yin Xian felt that the air had frozen. But she is really curious about the truth of the matter. Li Jinyao stared at her coldly and didn't speak for a long time. Just when Song Wantang thought he would not answer, the man suddenly spoke. You sneaked into my room while I was drunk. Were you unconscious at that time? Song Wantang asked cautiously. The man's body was even colder, and she laughed dryly. Then I am indeed very courageous. And then I became pregnant. Li Jinyao curled his lips coldly and didn't answer. Song Wantang said to himself, their winning rate is really high. Hey, well, I was just kidding. Seeing that something was wrong, she quickly smiled awkwardly, but Li Jinyao stared at her closely with the corner of his lips slightly raised. Don't you know the details? Huh? Song Wantang was confused. The man leaned close to her ear, his breath spraying on her face. That video, isn't it clear enough for Miss Song to see? Chapter 40, Did I really like you in the past? Boom. Song Wantang's face was as red as a ripe tomato. She remembered her passionate self in the video, the man's blurred eyes, and his strong body. Or do you want to take another look and reminisce? Li Jinyao approached, and Song Wantang was so scared that her legs went limp. She stammered, no need. For years ago, I really liked you. She waited nervously for his answer. Li Jinyao pondered for a while, then answered in a low voice, he tried every possible way to find out my whereabouts, surrounded me every day, bribed servants to sneak into my room, and took the initiative to seduce me. It's so annoying. Was she so crazy before? Was she really obsessed with Li Jinyao to such a shameless degree? Anything else? Li Jinyao's voice was sexy and seductive, and there was an indissoluble deep meaning in his eyes. Song Wantang quickly stopped him, no more. It was such a shame. How much did she lack men before that she dared to take action against a big ice cube like Li Jinyao? Ms. Song always wanted to sleep with me before. The man said in a hoarse voice, she also said that she would give birth to many children for me. Song Wantang wished she could find a hole to crawl into right there and then. Her ears were red and she didn't know what to do with her hands because she was so embarrassed. Let you be so lustful before. Li Jinyao glanced at the woman's blushing cheek, his black eyes flashing slightly. There is something I think I need to clarify with Miss Song. Song Wantang looked at the handsome face of the man so close to her and suddenly became distracted. This face really has the capital to drive people crazy. She must have been deceived by Li Jinyao's face in the past, so she did so many stupid things. But it is really beautiful. Her throat suddenly felt dry, and she licked her lips subconsciously, forcing herself to look away. I asked you to come here to take care of Mu Yuan. I hope Miss Song can behave herself. The man warned word by word. Now I am absolutely law-abiding. Song Wantang muttered softly. It's enough to do something stupid once, she doesn't want to make the same mistake again. Oh, and... Mr. Lee, you can ask me to move in, but I can't live like this forever, right? In the current situation, it is most important to stabilize the little bun's emotions. After all, he is related to her by blood, and Song Wantang can't just sit back and watch. Moving here is indeed the most effective way. However, given the awkward relationship between her and Li Jinyao now, it is not a solution to continue like this. Miss Song wants to snatch Mu Yuan back. Li Jinyao uttered a word coldly, and Song Wantang waved his hands quickly. That's not what I meant. I just think. Miss Song, don't worry. After a while, when Mu Yuan's mood stabilizes, you can leave at any time. The man narrowed his eyes again. After all, 4 years have passed. Li Jinyao had said this, what else could Song Wantang say? Now, he could only take it one step at a time. She left the study with a heavy heart, and as she left, the man behind her took out a cigarette from his pocket again, but he didn't know what he thought of, and put it back. Li Jinyao stared at the woman's back as she left, his eyes filled with deep emotion. The next day. Outdoor sports field. The handsome and noble man was followed by a little kid, who was walking with his short legs, trying hard to keep up with the man's long legs. Song Wantang, who had just woken up, was sleepy. She had not slept well the night before and her mind was full of thoughts about the little bun, which resulted in 2 serious dark circles under her eyes. She raised her eyes weakly and saw this loving scene between the big and the small. Somehow, her heart was moved. Mommy! The little boy in sportswear ran over and threw himself directly into her arms. Song Wantang caught him and wiped the sweat off his face with a tissue. Yuan, why are you up so early? After a night of struggle, although Song Wantang is not yet ready to be a mother, she is already trying to adapt. It's 7 o'clock. A cold male voice came from behind, and Li Jinya's long legs were particularly eye-catching. What do you mean it's already 7 o'clock? 7 o'clock is early. She retorted. The young master gets up at 5 every day, and the young master gets up at 6. Miss Song, you need to change your schedule appropriately. Mommy, you're such a lazy bum tilder. The little bun hugged her arm, but was pulled away by Li Jinyao. Take a bath. Song Wantang hurriedly followed. Let me do it. The man paused when he heard this. Chapter 41, Is it a big deal to have long legs? The little bun next to him also had red ears. I can wash it myself. Seeing the little bun stumbling away, Song Wantang was a little confused. Is the little thing shy? Song Wantang, he is already 4 years old. Li Jinyao said in a deep voice, his eyes dark and gloomy. Are you sure you want to help him take a bath? Song Wantang touched his nose. What's wrong with being 4 years old? Isn't he still a little kid? What's the big deal? Of course she didn't dare to say this. Come and eat. Boss Li gave the order, and Song Wantang followed him slowly, staring at the man's back without blinking. God is so unfair, how can this man have such a good figure? He can easily beat all the international male models. Suddenly, the tall man turned around, and Song Wantang was caught off guard and bumped into his arms again. Do you have to be so dramatic? Afraid that Boss Li would say that she had ulterior motives again, Song Wantang quickly dodged backwards. However, she got so nervous that she tragically missed a step. Seeing that she was about to fall, she instinctively pulled the man forward. The two men looked at each other. The morning sun cast a faint shadow on the man's face. Li Jinya's eyes were also brighter than usual, as if all the light had fallen into his eyes. Sorry. Looking down, she saw that her claws were desperately grabbing the collar of the man's shirt. Song Wantang quickly jumped out of his arms, her little hands awkwardly not knowing where to put them. I didn't mean it. Li Jinyao spoke in a low voice, like a cello slowly playing in the dark night. Miss Song's methods could be even more childish. God can testify, she really didn't mean it. And brother, Yin Yin, it was you who suddenly turned around without saying a word. Song Wantang felt wronged. How come no matter what she did, she was always accused of seducing someone? She was doubting her life, and then she heard a cold question, "Are you a snail?" After walking a few steps and seeing that the woman was still moving slowly, Li Jinyao couldn't help but frown and speak. "Oh, here it comes. Is it great to have long legs?" Song Wantang trotted after him, feeling extremely angry. "Will mommy accompany Yuan Yuan today?" Mu Yuan came down from the shower first. He was wearing a black suit today, which made him look cool and handsome. Song Wantang hesitated. "Yuan Yuan, listen to me." She softened her voice, fearing that she would upset the little thing. "I am an adult, and adults have their own jobs. It is impossible for me to accompany Yuan Yuan all the time." "I know, Tilda." The little bun curled his lips. "Yuan Yuan has always been very obedient, so when mommy goes to work, can you take Yuan Yuan with you?" Yuan Yuan promises not to cause any trouble for mommy. The little bun looked at her with pleading eyes, looking pitiful. Song Wantang was hesitant. Just at this moment, Li Jinyao came down from the stairs. Boss Li had just finished a shower, his hair was slightly wet, his shirt was only buttoned a few times, and his legs wrapped in trousers were long and strong, looking seductive no matter how you looked at him. "Damn Tilda, this is inviting crime, right?" Looking at the picture of the man emerging from the bath, Song Wantang seemed to understand herself for years ago, why she couldn't help but push him down. Who can resist such beauty? "Li Mu Yuan, come here." I don't know if he noticed the woman's passionate gaze, but Li Jinyao spoke in a calm voice. A few drops of water dripped down the man's chin, which was deadly sexy. Song Wantang said that his blood tank was empty. She swallowed and looked down subconsciously. Suddenly, Li Jinyao opened his thin lips slightly. "Your mommy is very busy and has no time to accompany you." Chapter 42, Do you like my dad very much? Song Wantang was almost choked. "Hey! Li." Before she finished speaking, she met the little bun's demise as expected. She subconsciously glared at Li Jinyao, then squatted down and smiled awkwardly. "No, how could I not have time to accompany Yuan Yuan? How about this, Yuan Yuan will go with me later, okay?" The little boy's eyes lit up instantly, and he happily rubbed against Song Wantang's arms. "Yuan Yuan must be good tilder." At the gate of Beijing University, Song Wantang got out of the car with the little bun, but was stopped by Li Jinyao. "I'll come pick up Mu Yuan in the afternoon." The man sat upright with a notebook on his legs, seemingly handling some business. His deep and handsome facial features were cold and inviolable, and he looked noble and elegant. As if noticing the woman's gaze, Li Jinyao's deep eyes narrowed slightly. Song Wantang quickly looked away and coughed. "Oh, I see." She quickly got out of the car, grabbed the little boy's hand and ran away. "Damn it, how could I be so useless? I am always mesmerized by this man's face. You have to know that appearance and other things are just clouds. Apart from this good-looking face, what else is there to recommend Li Jinyao? The answer is nothing. Of course, having money doesn't count. Mommy, do you like my dad very much? The little bun suddenly spoke up, and Song Wantang almost reflexively said, "No." Mu Yuan paused for a moment, then blinked. "Mommy, I haven't finished yet. Yuan Yuan is asking, do you like my dad's face very much? How embarrassing." Song Wantang touched his nose and pretended to be calm. "It's okay. Old men always like to deceive people with their faces. Phut, does Yuan Yuan know this much?" Song Wantang hugged the little bun with a smile, but as she smiled, looking at the pair of eyes that were extremely similar to her own, her gaze couldn't help but become dim. "Hey, little thing, is he really Han Li Jinyao's son? Why does she still feel like she is dreaming?" Along the way, the little kid was looking around curiously. Song Wantang had something on his mind and was a little absent-minded. When he was about to reach the door of the dance room, he suddenly heard the crowd talking. "What's going on? Isn't this the second young lady of the Song family? She came to see Teacher Song. How could she have the nerve to come and do such a shameless thing?" There were many people watching at the door. The woman surrounded in the middle was pale. She couldn't say a word when she heard the people's abuse. Her eyes were red and she looked like she was about to cry. "Teacher Song is here." Seeing the slender figure not far away, everyone fell silent. But when Song Wantang approached, they couldn't help but widen their eyes. Wait, where did the cute little kid next to Teacher Song come from? When they could see the little cute baby's face clearly, they couldn't help but marvel again. Damn, this kid, his looks are simply incredible. Is this a real person? How can a baby be so delicate? Everyone was extremely curious. What kind of gods did the child's parents look like? How could they give birth to such a beautiful baby? Ignoring everyone's gazes, Song Wantang directly held the little bun's hand and squinted his eyes to look at the women in the crowd. Song An-hao. When Song An-hao saw her, her eyes became wet. She pursed her lips tightly and said nothing. Song Wantang first placed the students in the dance room and then asked, "What's up?" Chapter 43, This is your illegitimate child, right? As soon as Mu Yuan saw Song An-hao, his lips pouted slightly, as if he really disliked her. Song Wantang, are you satisfied now? Song An-hao called her by her name, which was completely different from the delicate little girl before. Seeing her like this, Song Wantang couldn't help but curl his lips. Hey, An-hao, why don't you call me sister this time? Or are you finally tired of pretending? Song An-hao bit her lip and said bluntly, Song Wantang, you really say one thing and do another. You say you don't care about Lu Ziyi, but why are you torturing us to death? Lu Ziyi was fired as general manager because of you, and his family gave him a beating. Now his bank card is frozen, and he can't go home. Lu Ziyi is so miserable? Listening to Song An-hao's narration, Song Wantang couldn't help but be shocked. Was all this done by Li Jinyao? Isn't it just that he and I are together? I apologized, but you still exposed us. Is it necessary to be so cruel? Song An-hao gritted her teeth, no longer showing her previous weakness and gullibility. You must be very happy to see me being scolded online. We are sisters after all, how could you do that to me? Wow, it turns out that her sister's acting skills are so good that she can even win the Golden Figure Award. Song Wantang, are you listening? Seeing Song Wantang's nonchalant look, Song An-hao was so angry that her lips were trembling. Don't think you can do whatever you want just because you've climbed up the ladder. Let me tell you. Don't yell at my mommy. The little bun stood up and coldly stopped the woman from speaking. He looked Song An-hao up and down, frowning slightly. Who are you? See, my mommy doesn't want to pay attention to you. When Song An-hao heard him calling mommy, her eyes were filled with disbelief. Only then did she notice the child next to Song Wantang, and her eyes suddenly widened. What did this kid call you? Song An-hao opened her mouth wide, and Song Wantang raised her eyebrows slightly. It's none of your business. I know, Song Wantang, this is your illegitimate child, right? You actually gave birth to a child without telling your father. You are bringing shame to the Song family. Song An-hao stared at the child closely. Those eyes were exactly the same as Song Wantang's. I am not a bastard. Mu Yuan said domineeringly, I am mommy and daddy's biological son. Who is your father? Song An-hao was eager to ask questions, but was interrupted by Song Wantang. Have you said enough? First of all, whether it's my child or not, it has nothing to do with you. Secondly, my private life is a mess. TSK, Song An-hao, listen to me, is this what a human being says? Whose life is a mess? Don't you have any idea of the ACD? Finally, you feel sorry for your brother A's, but you knew that he sent people to arrest me, right? My dear sister, huh? If she hadn't reacted quickly that time, who knows what kind of accident would have happened? Who wants to kill whom? Song An-hao, you know in your heart how much you were involved in this. Song Wantang narrowed his eyes and warned, I tolerated you again and again, but it was only because of the ridiculous relationship between you and me. If there is a next time, do you think you will be so lucky? When Song An-hao targeted her time and time again, did he ever treat her as a relative? Speaking of which, it is really ironic to use the word relatives here. Chapter 44, Why don't mommy and daddy have read books? Song Wantang's mother was Song Gufeng's original wife. Later, Song Guofeng fell in love with the maid in the house and then had Song An-hao. Song's mother became seriously ill and died without treatment, so Song Wantang had no good feelings for this nominal sister since she was a child. But Song Guofeng spoiled his precious daughter to the point of lawlessness. Also, since you like your brother Ace so much, you will definitely stay by his side in this situation, right? Song An-hao was stunned for a moment, then gritted her teeth and replied, Of course. Well, so what is your purpose in coming to see me today? Song Wantang curled her lips, to beg me to let Lu Ziyi go. How does the saying go? A friend in need is a friend indeed. I believe in you and you will be able to help your brother Ace through this difficult time. Come on. By the way, don't come to school to find me in the future. You don't feel ashamed, but I do. Song Wantang was too lazy to continue talking to her and was about to pull the little kid away, but Song Anha stomped his foot heavily behind him. Song Wantang, you won't be so proud for too long. She stared at the woman's back. Song Wantang didn't turn around, but just gave her the middle finger. Song Anha was so angry that she almost died. A hint of viciousness flashed in her eyes, and her innocent face was a little distorted. Mommy, I'm not a bastard. Halfway through the journey, the little bun suddenly made a muffled sound, and Song Wantang paused when she heard it. No wonder she was wondering why the little thing was so silent all the way. It turned out that he had been thinking about this in his heart. She didn't know what she felt, so she instinctively raised her hand, touched his head, and said softly, Yuan Yuan is definitely not an illegitimate child. Then why don't mommy and daddy have read books? Other children's mommies and dads all have read books. The little bun looked curious. Are all kids nowadays so precocious? You know the read book at the age of 4. Song Wantang held his forehead with his hand, not knowing how to explain this difficult question. Or is it that Yuan Yuan is really an illegitimate child? The little boy lowered his eyes, his little head drooped, looking listless. Seeing the little boy like this, Song Wantang immediately thought of the last time he was angry. Her heart skipped a beat and she secretly thought that something was wrong. Who said there isn't any? Never mind. The most important thing is to coax the little kid first. Otherwise, it will be terrible if the little kid feels uncomfortable. Why didn't Yuan Yuan see it? That's because. Song Wantang thought of a solution in a hurry, because the red book is very important. It will be lost if you are not careful, and if it is lost, it can't be returned, so your father locked it up. Well, that's right, locked it up. After he finished speaking, the little bun remained silent. Song Wantang felt guilty, fearing that the little bun would continue to ask questions. So mommy is married to daddy, right? The little bun raised his head, blinking his eyes, full of excitement and endless anticipation. Song Wantang spat out a mouthful of blood. Get married. She didn't expect that the little kid even knew this word. Song Wantang was so upset that she wanted to cry. I'll make your mouth twitch. You shouldn't have lied just now. You know, one lie can only be made up with countless lies. What should we do in this situation? To be honest, the little girl's young heart would definitely not be able to bear it. If she continued to lie, she was afraid that Big Boss Li would break her legs after he found out. Song Wantang could already imagine Li Jinia's expression at that time. He would definitely ridicule her till nothing would be left. Chapter 45, Old Man, is Mommy pretty? Well, your father and I, we. Song Wantang felt so miserable. Oh God, please someone come and save her. Just as she was racking her brains to think of a remedy, the little bun suddenly said, I know. What did Yuan Yuan know? She was so nervous that her palms were sweating. Mu Yuan rolled his eyes and then put his little finger on his lips. It's a secret tilde. Song Wantang didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This guy was really a brat, and his personality was totally different from Li Jinia's. Like her? She seems, maybe, as if, not so cheerful. Fortunately, the little kid didn't ask any more questions, and Song Wantang couldn't help but secretly breathe a sigh of relief. This matter should be over, right? She just took the little bun into the dance room. The little bun's appearance undoubtedly attracted everyone's attention, and they were all gossiping. While Song Wantang was changing into her dance costume, everyone swarmed over. Little boy, what's your name? The baby is so cute. Someone tried to hug the little bun, but the little bun avoided him. Don't touch me. The little boy's face was tense and he exuded endless coldness. He didn't look like a baby of a few years old at all. Everyone didn't expect that a child could have such a strong aura, and their eyes almost popped out of their heads in shock. Hey, little friend, can I ask who is Teacher Song to you? No one dared to hug or touch him, and could only ask questions from a distance. The little bun puffed up his chest and said, My mommy. Everyone was stunned for a few seconds after hearing this, and then they laughed. Puff. Naturally, everyone didn't believe it. After all, the little kid looked only 3 or 4 years old, and Teacher Song was so young, how could she have a child that big? Moreover, she had never mentioned it in these years, so everyone just thought it was a kid's joke. It was probably the child of teacher Song's relative. Then who is your father? Someone asked again. Which man could have such good genes? The little bun opened his lips slightly, Li Jinyao. He spoke in a calm tone, completely unaware of how terrifying the name he said was. It turns out that children's words should not be taken seriously. Who is Li Jinyao? He is the big boss that the whole Rome country admires. How could the big boss's son be here? They wouldn't believe it even if they were beaten to death. My dear, you are bragging too much. Lying is not a good habit. What's wrong? At this time, Song Wantang came out and saw that the atmosphere was a bit subtle, so he couldn't help but ask a question. Hey, it's okay, it's okay. Mommy tilde. The little bun ran over and pulled Song Wantang's hand, seeming to be extremely dependent on her. Everyone. Is this child addicted to calling mommy? Yuan, sit inside and wait for me, okay? After class, I'll take Yuan out for a nice meal tilde. It was inconvenient for Song Wantang to bring the little bun to class, so the little bun nodded obediently and ran into the lounge by himself. Yuan can watch TV if she feels bored. Song Wantang smiled and warned, and the little bun waved at her, don't worry. The windows of the lounge were shaded, so one could clearly see the scene in the dance room. Looking at Song Wantang, who was dancing seriously, the little boy couldn't help but take off the small cell phone from around his neck. Crack. He took a picture, the corners of his lips curled up slightly, and then his little hand tapped something on the screen. At this moment, SL Group. Hey Jin Yao, where's your kid? Hua Qing leaned lazily against the door and looked around but didn't see the little ancestor. It's strange. Isn't the little ancestor always with Li Jinyao? Why didn't I see him today? With a ding sound, a message alert sounded. Li Jinyao raised his head from the document, tapped the screen with his slender fingers, and his deep eyes seemed like a quiet sea. On the screen was a photo of a woman in a dance costume. Slender, graceful, slender and soft. Below, there is a voice-to-text message. Old man, is mommy pretty? Chapter 46, Li Jinyao actually hugged her. So, next, Hua Qing clearly saw that Li Jinyao, who was always serious, actually raised a slight arc at the corner of his lips. What the hell? Is he blind? The big devil actually laughed. Still facing a cold cell phone. Hua Qing's eyes widened, and he was so shocked that he couldn't speak clearly. Well, Jin Yao, who sent the message? Li Jinyao stared at the photo for a long time, and his handsome brows slightly frowned when he heard the words. Quiet. He just said a few words, what did it do to disturb him? Hua Qing's mouth twitched. He couldn't help but run over and secretly glanced at the man's phone screen. Shit, am I seeing right, woman? Hua Qing had always believed that Li Jinyao was so pure and abstinent that he was almost going to ascend to heaven, but what was the situation now? Li Jinyao didn't answer, but tapped the screen with his slender fingers to save the message. Hua Qing came forward and asked curiously, who was that woman just now? I think she was pretty. As he was talking, his eyes suddenly lit up. Fuck, it can't be. Hua Qing thought of what Li Jinyao said a few days ago and couldn't help but take a deep breath, the little ancestor's biological mother. Li Jinyao stood up, seemingly not ready to answer. Hua Qing hurriedly chased after him, hey, is that true or not? The man paused and glanced down at his watch, you will preside over the meeting later. Where are you going? Li Jinyao said seriously, pick someone up. The international competition will be held on a cloudy day. I have already posted the details in the group. Please remember to check it when you get home. Good luck in the competition. After finishing today's training, Song Wantang gave instructions with a smile, and the students shouted, thank you, Teacher Song. The students left one after another, and Song Wantang reviewed the movements again by himself. She was immersed in her own world and had no idea that the handsome and noble man had been standing outside the floor-to-ceiling window for a long time. Song Wantang turned around and suddenly caught a glimpse of the man outside from the corner of her eye. She was immediately shocked. That is. Li Jinyao was dressed in a black suit, looking cold and solemn, as if he had just come from a meeting. His eagle-like sharp eyes were full of strong aggression, and he was looking straight at her. R. She was frightened by the man's eyes and her foot suddenly twisted. Song Wantang fell to the ground in pain. As expected, as soon as Li Jinyao appeared, her bad luck started to take over. Mommy. The little boy heard the noise and ran out, nervously trying to help Song Wantang up, but before he could do anything, he heard a voice saying, "Don't move." Song Wantang stared blankly at Li Jinyao appearing. The tall man just stood in front of her, and then the next second, Li Jinyao leaned over and picked her up from the ground. Looking at the man's face so close to her, her eyes widened. Oh shit, what happened? Li Jinyao actually hugged her. Moreover, it was a princess hug. A strong masculine scent lingered at the tip of her nose. As long as Song Wantang raised her head, she could see the man's sexy thin lips. She swallowed, and at this moment, her heartbeat was somewhat out of control. Li Jinya's profile was cold and delicate, and he looked as if he had walked out of a painting. Song Wantang was held in his arms, her face burning hot. Song Wantang finally came to her senses after the man carried her into the car. She was nervously organizing her words, but heard Li Jinyao utter a few words coldly. Are you stupid? Song Wantang touched her nose. What happened to her that made him scold her? Chapter 47. Has your father always been so fierce? Mommy, you're bleeding. Mu Yuan felt very distressed. Song Wantang looked down and found that blood was indeed flowing out of his feet. It's okay. It's okay. The most tiring part of ballet dancing is the feet. After years of training, Song Wantang's toes were already in great pain, but for her, they had long been numb. What's this little injury? She was about to move her feet when she suddenly heard the man say, "Do you want to be disabled?" Song Wantang didn't dare to move. Mu Yuan blinked and rolled his eyes. Dad, go buy some medicine for mommy. It looks so painful. The car happened to pass by a drugstore, and Li Jinyao got out of the car with a cold voice. Trouble. She begged him to take care of her. Li Jinya's temper was really bad. He would get angry at the slightest provocation, which reminded Song Wantang of a lion with its fur standing on end. Yuan, has your father always been so fierce? In response to Song Wantang's question, the little bun supported his chin and answered, Mommy, don't worry, the old man is just pretending. He's just trying to be cool, don't pay any attention to him. Har har har. Song Wantang couldn't help laughing happily when the car door suddenly opened and Li Jinya's cold face appeared in front of her. Her smile froze at the corners of her mouth, neither laughing nor crying at the same time. Damn. She could already imagine how ugly her expression was at this moment. A bottle of ointment was thrown at her feet, and then Song Wantang heard a cold male voice, Will board it. Will, who was sitting in the passenger seat, looked confused. What? He just went downstairs to make a phone call. Thank you tilde. Song Wantang thanked him politely. Will saw Li Jinya's oppressive gaze through the rearview mirror and quickly touched his nose. Well, it's just a small favor, Miss Song, you don't have to be polite. When getting off the car, Song Wantang walked in front. The little bun glanced at the man next to him and couldn't help but stretch out his little hand to poke his long legs. Old man, why are you so hypocritical? I saw you go into the drugstore in person. Li Jinyao stretched out his long legs and said gracefully, Look at the road. Why are you pretending tilde? The little bun made a face, I'm the only one who can be with mommy at all times. From now on, I can take pictures whenever I want. Lululu. Li Jinya's eyes darkened, and just as he was about to reach out to pick up the little guy, a figure suddenly jumped out from nowhere and ran straight towards them. Little darling. Upon hearing their voice, Li Jinyao frowned slightly, and the little bun ran away. But the next second, the little bun was hugged fiercely, and before he could react, he was held in someone's arms and kissed several times. Yuan baby, I miss my uncle so much. The person who came was a young man, wearing casual clothes, with a pair of slightly upturned peach blossom eyes. His facial features were so beautiful that it was hard to tell whether he was a man or a woman. He was indescribably elegant and uninhibited, and exuded an indescribable dignity from head to toe. The man held the little bun in his arms and couldn't let it go. Yuan, do you miss your second uncle, huh? Mu Yuan wiped the saliva off his face with a look of disgust. Are you cheesy? Li Chongjing raised his eyebrows and reached out to pinch his face. How can you talk like that? You have no respect for your parents. Mu Yuan slipped out of his arms and said, Second uncle, you've become ugly again. Li Muyuan. Li Chongjing gritted his teeth and followed the little thing's pace. I haven't seen you for a few days, your skin is itching, isn't it? I'm telling you, you. Before he could finish his words, he saw the little boy, who usually didn't get close to others, actually reached out and hugged a woman's legs. Chapter 48, dazzled by the brother's beauty. Li Chongjing opened his eyes wide, thinking he was seeing things. The little thing with a fawning look on his face, holding the woman tightly, is he the fearless little ancestor? You have to know that over the years, there are only a handful of people who can make this little ancestor take the initiative to get close to him. Li Chongjing was stunned. He subconsciously looked at the man next to him and asked in surprise, "No, brother, what's going on?" He stroked his chin, incredulous, "Is that your new maid? She's so pretty." When he saw Song Wantang's face clearly, Li Chongjing took a breath of cold air again. The simple top and trousers perfectly outlined the woman's graceful figure. Her eyes are particularly beautiful, and they seem to be able to speak. When they are slightly raised, they are so charming. To put it vulgarly, Song Wantang's appearance is exactly what most women would call a vixen. This kind of appearance is not popular with women, but men can't forget it after just one look, and their hearts are itching. Li Chongjing has been in the entertainment industry for countless years and has a very discerning eye for people, but when he saw the woman in front of him, he couldn't help but be amazed. Estimated height, 168 centimeters, measurements. Hiss. Brother, why did you kick me? Li Chongjing touched the place where he was kicked by the man, looking painful. Too noisy. Li Jinyao straightened his suit, his eyes calm, but his gaze was fixed on the petite figure in front of him. Brother, seriously, where did you find such a pretty maid? TSK, her looks and temperament are absolutely amazing. Li Chongjing forgot the pain and kept talking. Suddenly, the man's cold eyes swept over him. He shuddered and swallowed the rest of the words. Hearing the noise, Song Wantang subconsciously looked in the direction of the man. Li Chongjing lazily raised his hand and greeted her. Just as he was about to walk over, he was kicked again. Fuck, brother. What are you crazy about again? Elder brother? Hearing his name, Song Wantang couldn't help but look at the man a few more times. Sure enough, his facial features are somewhat similar to Li Jinyao's. He is also a handsome man who has murdered thousands of young girls. Could it be that he is the second young master of the Li family, Li Chongjing? In fact, Song Wantang knew Li Chongjing much better than Li Jinyao. Because Li Chongjing is a big shot in the entertainment industry, Song Wantang can always see news related to him. Just at this moment, Li Chongjing came over, and when he saw Song Wantang up close, he curled his lips and smiled. Hello, young lady. When did you come to the Li family? Why haven't I seen you before? Damn, how powerful are the Li family's genes? With these two brothers looking like this, how can other men survive? One was cold and the other was a demon. They had different styles, but were equally noble and handsome. Song Wantang was overwhelmed by the brothers' beauty. She coughed and tried to stay calm. Hey, hello, Mr. Li. I came here recently too. She was vague in her words. After all, her relationship with Li Jinyao could not be explained clearly in a short time. Li Chongjing's eyes lit up when he heard this. Do you know me? How could second young master Li not recognize him? Li Chongjing became even more excited. He was about to say something when he was interrupted by a cold male voice. Li Chongjing, are you free? Li Jinya's oppressive gaze locked onto Song Wantang again. Are you free too? Har, you guys chat. Song Wantang fled with the little bun, leaving Li Chongjing with a confused look on his face. Are you in a bad mood? After struggling for a long time, he dared to ask. This is kicking and mocking, is it really explosive? Li Jinya's face was cold and stern, and Li Chongjing inexplicably felt a sense of danger. If you keep talking nonsense, get out. He really ate dynamite. He didn't do anything at all. Chapter 49, There's nothing wrong with having a son. Mommy, do you know my second uncle? As soon as he entered, the little bun curled his lips. Song Wantang touched his head and said, I've seen the photos. Oh. The little bun seemed to be thinking about something, his brows slightly wrinkled. Mommy, apply the medicine. When the little bun reminded her, Song Wantang remembered that as soon as she took out the ointment given by Li Jinyao, the little bun snatched it away. Let me help mommy apply it. The little bun's ears turned red. Yuan will definitely be very light, mommy, don't worry. Song Wantang was stunned for a moment, looking at the little cutie's slightly red cheeks. Somewhere in her heart trembled slightly because of the little guy's smile. Thinking of the relationship between him and herself, Song Wantang's nose suddenly felt a little sour. This child came out of nowhere. To be honest, no one would be able to accept him at first. In fact, they would be extremely resistant to him. After all, she has been single and living well, and suddenly a son appears and calls her mommy. People with poor tolerance might even have a heart attack. Fortunately, she was mentally strong and managed to get through these days. But she kept thinking, what should she do? Song Wantang went to the hospital where she had been hospitalized due to a car accident, but 4 years had passed and the hospitalization records could no longer be found. I couldn't get anything out of Song Wufeng. Song Wantang felt tired. She had no memory of what happened 4 years ago, but one fact after another was before her, forcing her to admit it. This is her biological son, guaranteed to be real. The DNA test was written in black and white. What else could she do but accept it? Deny it cruelly. Pretend that nothing happened. That has always been the behavior that Song Wantang despised the most. How could she possibly do that? God knows, she has never had a good sleep these days. Her dreams are filled with the scene of Li Jinyao grabbing her adopted son. Mommy, what's wrong with you? Seeing that something was wrong with Song Wantang, Mu Yuan spoke cautiously. Song Wantang smiled, then reached out and hugged his small body. It's okay, Yuan, I'm just very happy. Forget it, there's nothing wrong with having a son, and she always likes babies. Thinking about it again, she still made a profit. After all, the little thing's appearance is extraordinary. Even if she gets married in the future, where can she find such strong genes as Li Jinyao to give birth to such a beautiful baby? The little boy hugged her neck and suddenly kissed her on the face. After the kiss, her little face immediately turned red. Yuan is also very happy tilde. Song Wantang touched the place where the little thing had kissed her, and after being stunned for a few seconds, she smiled, and even her eyebrows and eyes were filled with smiles. Brother, why is Yuan so attached to that little maid? Li Chongjing threw a grape into his mouth and narrowed his peach blossom eyes slightly. I'm not saying anything, but you're not young anymore. How can you really live without a girlfriend at this age? His eldest brother had lived for 28 years and had never been interested in women, living like a monk. But who would have thought that 4 years ago, he would suddenly bring home a baby? Upon learning that the baby was actually Li Jinya's biological son, the entire Li family was shocked. After all, the 1,000-year-old iron tree finally blooms, who wouldn't he be excited? However, when asked about the child's biological mother, Li Jinyao only answered coldly with 2 words. No. Not a single word was said, and almost everyone vomited blood. Big brother, can you give birth to a baby by yourself? However, Li Jinyao always avoided answering this question, and even got angry when asked. Over time, no one dared to touch this taboo. Therefore, the child's mother has always remained a mystery. Chapter 50, Miss Song has always been loyal. Over the years, Li Chongjing has been curious about who on earth could conquer a cold man like Li Jinyao. If he had the good fortune to meet this woman, he would kneel down 3 times and kowtow 9 times to express his deep admiration and respect. Are you kidding me? How could he not be powerful if he could get his hands on his eldest brother's woman? You went on a blind date. Boss Li, who had been flipping through the newspaper, raised his head indifferently. Fuck. It hurts. Li Chongjing immediately made a bitter face. Didn't grandma introduce her to me? Aunt Wen's daughter, I just met her once, and she's been pestering me like crazy. Hey, she's not as pretty as your maid. By the way, brother, what's the maid's name? Does she have a boyfriend? Li Chongjing tried to inquire, but he only saw the man next to him put down the newspaper and stood up coldly. She's not what you think she is. The man's tone left no room for doubt. Li Chongjing touched his nose and said, It's okay. I don't care about her identity. While the two were talking, Song Wantang just happened to come down from upstairs with little Bowsy. Uncle, can you wipe your saliva? Seeing Li Chongjing staring at Song Wantang without blinking, the little kid couldn't help but groan. Li Chongjing was choked and was about to deal with this ignorant little thing, when he suddenly heard a sentence. Go home now. Li Chongjing looked at the man in front of him in disbelief. Really? Brother, I just came to your place for a meal, are you so cruel? However, when he met Li Jinya's sharp gaze, he immediately laughed dryly. Well, I'll make a phone call. Yes, make a phone call. Although he didn't know what happened to his eldest brother, based on his experience, it was better to run away in such a situation. Song Wantang blinked and stared at Li Chongjing's departing back in a daze. TSK, a mobile freezer like Li Jinyao is really hard to get along with. She had thought that he would at least change his attitude towards people close to him, but it seemed that she had been overthinking everything. Seeing Li Chongjing being treated like this, Song Wantang felt inexplicably more balanced. It seems that Li Jinyao is not only so mean to her. Hey, why did it suddenly become a lot colder? Song Wantang hugged her arms subconsciously and looked back to find that Boss Li had stood behind her without her knowing when, with a frosty look on his handsome face. Then, Song Wantang heard a faint voice, like him. What's wrong with Li Jinyao? We can't guess what the boss is thinking, nor do we dare to guess. No, Mr. Li, you misunderstood. I don't have any intentions towards your brother. Afraid that Li Jinyao would misunderstand, she hurried to explain. But mommy was staring at second uncle just now. The little boy bit his little hand and stood on the same side with Li Jinyao for the first time. Well. Song Wantang's smile was uglier than crying. I was just curious. I just wanted to see what Mr. Li's brother looks like. Feeling that the air pressure was a little low, she carefully tried to save it. Well, the genes of your Li family are really strong. However, I still prefer Mr. Li's type. She couldn't help but give a thumbs up to her own wit. After saying such nice things, Li Jinyao should have no reason to be angry, right? Sure enough, after hearing her answer, the coldness on Li Jinyao's face faded away, and a light flickered in his dark eyes. But then, Song Wantang heard the man's low, smiling voice. Well, Miss Song has always been loyal.